Hello and welcome to episode 95 of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. My name's Davey and joined with me as always is the fine wine himself, Mr. Philippoy.
And there's no rules here, it's just crew versus crew.
Oh, I don't understand that reference. And the boy wonder himself, Spencer Davis.
Yeah, I don't understand that reference either. Phil, mate, can you enlighten us? What is that in a reference to?
You haven't played enough Concord, clearly, boys.
I can't.
It's what they say when they drop in.
Is it really?
It really is, yeah.
I think it's what
one of
they
the
say,
things, yeah.
Yeah, for one of the game modes, right?
Oh, see, I'm just too busy getting into my own headspace, getting ready to fuck. And I suppose this is one of those things, I'll just come out with it straight away, audience. Normally, at this point in the show, I'd be saying, right, well, let's settle up one of the bets that we put down a couple of weeks ago. So we put down a bet about KD ratios, and whoever had the best would get a reward. Well, I think the universe has smiled on us in our way that we should have probably gone for, the punching down like we normally do, because there's emails that have gone round detailing people's KDs, and turns out only one of us out of the three of us actually got that email. So that's all been put to the back burner. But audience, if you're tuning into this for the first time, this is In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast. We are, some say, the sexiest podcast on the internet, but I would say we're just that best British podcast in general. I'm going to go one step further. We're just the best the British has got. I reckon there's no better than this. And we're super humble about it as well. So we'd never mention it ever again. But what have you got in store for you today? Well, you've got the normal run of the show. We've got ourselves a question, a hypothetical, which one of us is going to post to the rest of the crew. We're then going to move it into what we've been playing, then take a gander through quick news. And we got a stack of news to go through. And then we're going to end with a topic which is all about some crazy price cuts that have happened for PSVR2 here in the gorgeous shores of the UK. But before we get to any of that, guys, I just want to have a little bit of a whine here. We are in day 4 of our summer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
too much.
It's just hit out of nowhere. It's fucking boiling. So if any of the audience are wondering, the audio quality isn't as good as normal, we have got everything on vent. Like, windows are wide open. Phil's going to be having like a million cars come past the window every 2 minutes as soon as he opens his mouth.
Zoom! It'll really be quick news. If they time it right when I do quick news, it'll be a proper zoom down the hill, and then I can go into quick news. It might work out in our favour, but knowing the way the podcast normally goes, it probably won't.
Nah, probably won't. It'll probably just be the second you start talking and making a good point, you'll just get drowned out by the sound of Bristol traffic, which apparently does not stop. It's just constant all the time.
It's all those Harley Davidsons that park at the pub at the top of my road. They'll be coming down, hogging the road outside, won't they? That's what'll happen, unfortunate. But hey, can't fight it.
No, you can't. And we can't fight this heat, so we're just going to have to soldier on through. But I also want to just mention the fact that Spencer, is good to have you back, my friend. How are you feeling? You feeling a bit better from last time?
Yeah, definitely a bit better. I am suffering with the heat, same as you boys, hot as shit in this room. And unlike in the past, I think we're a bit more of a sophisticated podcast now. So the shirt is going to stay on for the duration. And no drinks are happening as well today, not for me. So this has to stay on. So I'm suffering double time because when I'm in this room, I'm never wearing a top, bruv. This room sucks. Even in the winter, it's boiling. And now it's boiling. It's extra boiling.
Take it off. Take it off. Take it off. I can hear the millions of our fans screaming at their radios now. Take it off. They're listening on radio. They can't see you. They just have to dream about you being half naked while you're doing the podcast.
Well, dream on. Dream on. I hope it's a nice dream.
Do you ever wonder if, like, you know when you hear someone's voice and you never go to see what they look like, and then you go to see what they look like, you think, that voice didn't quite match the face. I wonder what people think we look like if they've never seen what we look like.
That'd be hilarious. I'd love like an artist's like rendition. So if there are any listeners out there that have never tuned into the YouTube or follow us on our Twitters or on X these days, wouldn't it be amazing if someone was a little bit handy with the Photoshop and they could like do an impression of each one of us? And we'll see how close it gets. Yeah,
that'd be nice. But we do always say the best looking podcast. So they might have some high expectations and come in and we match those. Yes, boys.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Hell yeah.
I like that positivity train. Well, we're going to move on from the positivity train to something that potentially could get quite dark here. So the question I got for you guys today, I don't know why this popped into my head. I don't know what was going on, but as soon as it popped into my head, I thought I'll ask the girlfriend, of course, and then I'll write down what it is. So, question is, if you had to replace a body part with something edible, what part and what would it be?
Wow.
It's weird.
It's weird.
Like, immediately there's questions that surface.
Go on, throw them at me. I'll try and spread the knowledge here.
If I'm to choose like an essential body part, right?
Yeah.
And it's edible, what happens if it gets eaten? Does it grow back?
No, it's just game over.
Just gone.
So you got to consider these things. So, like, I was thinking to myself, oh, what about, like, I don't know, like a lollipop instead of a hand, right? Or something like that. But then the problem is, if it gets wet, it's just going to shrivel up and be gone, right? And you're just left with, I assume, just a stick. But the stick's not really edible, is it? So I guess it would just be like the circle lolly disc would be your hand, right? So, yeah.
Davey, also, aren't bodies editable? So if you really did want to eat someone, you could.
It's true.
You could, but I'm more thinking just like a general food item. So,
right,
like,
okay, that you were getting Waitrose or
yeah, wherever you go for your shop.
wherever you go, other supermarkets are available.
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking you can't choose like a brick. Can't have brick hands because no one eats bricks, right? Like you probably could
the
eat
people in the
bricks.
circus do, don't they?
Yeah, people do.
And like they eat like light bulbs and things on those weird TV shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, but realistically, you're not going to be like, I'm going to go to a restaurant. And what did you have last night? Was it a nice meal? Lovely. Brick to start. Oh, brilliant. Great. I love brick. Like that doesn't happen, right? So you can't be like, oh yeah, I'll have bricks for hands. Like I could be a knockoff the thing. No, you can't do that. So it's got to be, yeah, it's got to be something that is an actual food, or I would say recognized as a food.
See, this is just mad. So, wait, so if I replace an organ, does that organ continue to work if I don't eat it?
I guess so. Yeah, but then you have to really think about what it is, though. I mean, like as I said, if I go back to like a lolly, right? They're quite rigid. So heart and lungs being made out of lolly ain't probably going to work too well.
Okay. Okay, I think I got it.
Is it a bit like, there was that guy that had banana hands? Wasn't that like a meme thing on the internet
Oh,
at
like
some
salad
point?
fingers.
Oh,
salad
salad
fingers.
fingers.
That's what I
the
was
guy,
thinking.
right?
Guy with like
of.
spoons.
Yeah. There we go. That's a thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I think all that came through my mind at the time was I was thinking, imagine, like, say I lost an arm, what could I put on there that could still get me out of trouble if I got into a fight? And I thought a stick of rock's quite hard. Like you could stick a stick of rock like in your stump and lamp somebody with that, and that does quite a bit of damage. But then I thought you'd have to keep it in the wrapper at all times because if it gets wet, it's going to disintegrate. And ants would be an absolute struggle.
That's
I remember
true.
when I was a kid, I licked a rock that I had, like a stick of rock, not just a rock, and put it in the cupboard and woke up the next morning thinking, oh, I can't wait to eat that stick of rock. And ants had come in through my mum's kitchen and were just all in the unit. I opened it up and it was like a fucking thing out of a horror movie. Just hundreds or thousands of ants just swarming all over my stick of rock. And my mum was like, why didn't you put it in the fridge? It's like, because it's already really hard. It's rock. Yeah.
And for that reason, I don't think I want to replace anything in my body with something sweet.
Yeah.
Getting attacked by bugs, that's awful.
Yeah. Terrible.
That's a big downside.
Yeah. Terrible. Well, let's start with yourself, Spence. Where are you going with this?
Okay, I don't think there's really an answer that benefits you.
No.
I don't think there's a single food that is better than, say, like an arm or a leg or anything. Can't be. Surely not. Because even then, fucking so much food goes off. It's difficult. I think what I'll go with is I'll change my large intestine.
Right.
With,
right.
Yeah,
Right.
with spaghetti.
All right.
with spaghetti, and then in my will, I'm gonna put when I die, my large intestine is spaghetti. I want all my loved ones to have some, and then I'll be with them forever.
Oh, slightly twisted.
It's fucking skank. Can you imagine how hard it would be? I mean, I suppose I'm probably getting too in the weeds here. If it functioned the same as a large intestine, so it's just a massive slab of spaghetti, right? That it all moves through. It could work. It could work. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, you wouldn't want to get any trauma down there, would you? Because it's just that shit's gonna be ripping like no one's business. Spaghetti's not exactly strong. Or is it the uncooked spaghetti where it's like brittle?
It can't be. It wouldn't. There's no way it would be brittle, being inside this all the fluids in my body. Even if it's like cold and soggy, it would become,
like a cooked spaghetti. So it needs to be like cooked spaghetti.
Yeah, it'd have to be cooked spaghetti, but then like it'd have to be like reinforced cooked spaghetti. Like we know how weak spaghetti is, but we've never had giant spaghetti, so we don't know.
That's
we
true.
don't know.
That's true.
It's all theoretical. We can't find out. So I think it might function, and then you'll get a bit of yum-yums when I'm dead, and it might be the best fucking spaghetti you've ever had.
I mean, I've never had giant spaghetti, as you said. Why haven't they done it? I don't know. Why haven't they said, do you know what? Let's make it massively thick, this spaghetti. So you can only fit like 2 strands at one time in the thing. Like a noodle on noodle, but giant, like super, super big. I like that. I think that's a really clever idea to get around this. I like that a lot. That's a fucking great shout.
I think he's done the right thing, hasn't he, by choosing something internal so it doesn't really affect his day-to-day. Now, if I'm coming to you and you've got a lollipop for a hand, people can see that straight away. Like, frame one, they'll go, what the fuck? He's got a lollipop for a hand. But Spencer just continues his whole life as if he's not disabled in some way. Full of spaghetti.
Can you imagine the surprise if somebody cut you open? Like, you got gutted on the street and spaghetti comes out. What the fuck? I was expecting intestine and I got spaghetti.
Maybe he has got spaghetti inside. No one's looked.
It's true.
Shit.
If you don't see it, does it really happen?
Oh.
Now we're getting deep.
Bloody hell. So, what are you thinking then, Phil? Where are you going with this?
Well, it's a difficult one, really. And I was thinking maybe I'll pick some foods that I really like eating. So there's a couple of things that I think if you just kept putting them on my plate, I would just continue to eat these things, okay? So I want something pleasant to become part of my body, okay? And the 2 things I was thinking about, and I was salivating as I was contemplating what body part to replace, would be edamame beans. I can't get enough of them. I could just eat and eat and eat edamame beans. The same as poppadoms when you're in an Indian. Just keep them coming. 10 poppadoms? Not enough, mate. 20 poppadoms, 30 poppadoms. I just keep eating poppadoms. As long as I got a drink, nice glass of water or a beer, normally an Indian, I'll just keep eating poppadoms, okay? And I was thinking with the edamame beans, what could I really replace? Maybe just like my eyebrows with edamame beans. Maybe that would work, something kind of insignificant to your body, really. But ultimately, if it's in the front of your face, everyone's going to notice straight away. And then I was thinking, well, maybe this hypothetical, we could help someone out there, okay? Maybe someone who's lost a limb or, a part of their body that, needed replacing. A lot of the time people, when they've lost an ear, there's all these wild experiments where they're growing, ears on the back of rats. And I was thinking maybe out of a poppadom, you could fashion your own ear, couldn't you? Because you could start off with the big poppadom and then start breaking it down to get the perfect balance between the 2. And I'm foreshadowing slightly because we have something about audio much later on in Quick News, okay? So you could almost adjust your 3D audio with this big poppadom. Okay, and you're saying they're very brittle. Of course, you would fashion it straight away. But if you tried to eat a poppadom that's a week old, 2 weeks old, they literally become skin. So I've solved the mystery. How to replace someone's ear? Replace it with a poppadom.
Yeah, I
mean, not sold you?
No, I don't think so. I think if I saw somebody whose ear, like when you see somebody who's lost an ear, you think, oh, like it's really noticeable, isn't it? and you can't help but look, and it's not that horrific or anything, but you do notice it. And then if they had a giant poppadom growing outside their head.
Not giant. They would break it down to get the perfect balance between the two, because you'd have your real ear, you'd have your poppadom ear that you've fashioned all the way down, and then you have perfect balance, and it would look the same. It's skin color. It's tough as skin because it's weeks old now, years old. So it's very similar to another ear, but it's made of poppadoms.
My only qualm, I think, is, do you know how difficult it is to break a poppadom in the exact shape you want?
Yeah, there's that. You might go too far, and then you might have to start cutting off. You might have to cut some of your other ear off to balance it out, because life is all about balance.
That's true. That's what Thanos said.
It's got to be fact at that point. It's got to be fact. If Thanos said it, true. Yeah, I mean, I don't think, as you said earlier, I think whoever said it, there's no real good answer for this. And I think Spence has actually somehow come out with a fucking good answer, which is just unbelievable. So, because anything I can think of kind of just sucks. Like, originally what I was thinking, when I thought of this question, I would change my eye lens. You know, like the lens on your eye. You know, like when you go in for, what do they call it? What's that thing where they take their lens out, put cataracts, when you go in for cataract treatment, and they take the lens of your eye out because it clouds up, and they put a brand new fresh one in, you got perfect vision again when you're like 90. I was thinking, well, what they could do is I could have that being like one of those, like, do you remember when polos did those like orange polos and all that? And they were
fruity
like
polos.
Yeah. And I was thinking I could have those. And then I could still kind of see, sure, it'd be in like an orange glaze or green glaze or whatever, but it would be fine. It would work. The downside is ants in your eyes when you go to sleep. Like, I can't be doing that. And wasps would not leave me alone, with these things in my eyes.
If the mighty Boosh came back, you'd get a part straight away.
You would. And I think from a distance, or even up close, if you saw somebody with like a really thin, one bright orange and one green eye, you'd be like, whoa, that guy's cool. Whoa.
I don't think you would. I grew up when people started getting fashionable contact lenses.
Oh, yeah.
And there was one kid in school who got them, and he looked like a complete twat. He just had white eyes.
Yeah.
That was never cool. No one cool at my school ever did that.
No, we had one girl in my school do it as well. But Davey, I know what you would do. You would exclusively use the red polos, because you'd just be like, "This is how Cyclops sees everything."
Yes,
mate. This is amazing. I know you would. And then you just have red eyes everywhere you go, and people would think someone's taking a photo of you all the time. You know when that happens? That's permanently.
So in a photo, you look normal.
Yeah.
Maybe it would work the reverse. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then if for some reason somebody was to lick my eye, then, they'd be like, oh, wow, he tastes like strawberry. Yes, I do, baby. But I think what I'd do is, if I was going whole hog with it, I think all I'd do is I'd go like bug snacks, and I'd just get sausage legs. Just full on sausage legs, and just going around giant sausages, bro. And then, you just wear jeans nobody would know. But you just got sausage legs.
How big are these sausages? Because how tall are you now? 5 foot what? 4?
6 foot to the dime. And
really? Is that what your mum tells you?
I would just have the hot dogs be as long as my legs, mate. And sure, mobility would be a bit of a struggle. But
it'd be shaky, wouldn't it?
It'd be wibbly wobbly. But it's an option. I think bug snacks here work quite well.
Like, what's the shelf life of sausages, mate? Especially if they're not in a fridge. If you're just walking about in this heat with sausages for legs.
I don't know. I've never. If you cook it, I imagine they'd be cooked sausages, right? I wouldn't want like.
It makes more sense.
At least they're a bit more rigid. Yeah, a bit more rigid. I don't know how long. Like if they're like barbecued, like they're fucking char grilled, right? Then I don't know how long it lasts, and if it goes harder, or if they just go off and just shit out of bed. I don't know. I've never kept a sausage long enough around for that. But if they did go off, The plus side is I can then get those cool ass running legs. So I got an option.
If you ever got cut, though, you'd never come back from that with a sausage, would you?
No.
Because have you ever cut a sausage on a barbecue? All the bits pop out, don't they? So you'd be very fragile with sausage legs, even if you cook them. You were talking about my poppadom ears, and, to look normal, you just see me from the left, right? Spence, he always looks normal. For you with your jelly bean eyes and your sausage legs, it's a little bit harder to hide, isn't it?
Shorts would be out of the question. Shorts would be absolutely out of the question. But, a nice pair of baggy jeans, take it back to the early 2000s, you could probably get away for quite a while, I think, with that. But as you said, you wouldn't see me walking through brambles. No way.
No.
They'd be shredded up.
Or anywhere close to a dog.
Yes.
Oh, so true.
Yeah, dogs would be a fucking nightmare. But at least then I can finally have an excuse. Because this happens quite regular. This is a bad thing to admit on the podcast. But as we've been admitting things lately, about nonsense and all that, I think it's time to admit this. Quite often, I'll see a dog going off. And in the news all the time, there's people getting killed by dogs in there all the time. And I think, let it be me. Let it fucking try. I saw this video of this guy absolutely body slam a dog the other day when it was starting off. And I thought, yeah, maybe proud to be a human. I was like, yeah, we can fucking take him. We can take him. And every time I see one that's going off, I walk past and I put the missus to the side. I'm like, this could be it. This could be the moment. Hasn't happened
This
yet.
could be my moment to kill a dog.
Yeah, if it just goes at me, I wouldn't just want to do it. I'm not some kind of crazy psycho.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I genuinely thought that was going to be like an iShowSpeed reference there, because he's always barking at people. So if he ran up to Davey, you'd have an excuse to give him a punch in the face.
Oh, yeah, I don't like that guy. He's the next one on the nonce list. Now we've had Mr. Beast and all come out. It's only a matter of time until iShowSpeed gets called out as well.
That newsreader as well came out today, wasn't he? He got finally found out. Yeah, they're all at it. Everyone's at it. So everyone start unsubscribing right now. We do not ever want to be popular.
Yeah, no way. Stop us from ever hitting. Yeah, as soon as we get close to 100,000, keep us honest. Keep us up to about 90-odd thousand max. But that's about 500 years away.
That's hopeful, mate. That's hopeful thinking.
Oh, Christ. Well, audience, what would you do? What would you choose to have for something edible in your body? Let us know right into the Twitter or the X these days at InPS We Trust. Is that what we are? At PS We Trust? I don't even know anymore.
At InPS We Trust.
Shit, I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
The email's PS We Trust. The X is InPS We Trust.
There you go.
Confusing.
Professional all the way through. Now let's bring it on to what we've been playing.
This time on NPS We Trust, what have the boys been playing?
So guys, it's been 2 weeks since the last podcast episode, and I'm desperate to know what you've been up to in that time. Now, Spence, we have not heard your thoughts about a big elephant in the room, and that elephant is, of course, Concord. The second beta, the last beta before launch, has come to an end. We've all put considerable amount of time into Concord over these 2 beta weekends. I want to start with yourself, sir. I want to hear what your full thoughts are on Concord.
Okay, full thoughts, bloody hell. Well, first of all, I didn't actually get to play at all during the second weekend. I was busy with the missus, so just didn't get to happen. But the first weekend, me and Maloon played quite a lot together. Like probably about 10 hours, maybe 12, maybe 8, somewhere in that area. And it was us and Lewis for quite a lot of it. It's a good game. The first time I played it, the first day, I really hated it. Did not enjoy it at all. I was listening to music whilst I was playing to try and keep my mood high. Just was not enjoying it. And then day 2, for some reason, something switched up in the noggin. And I was like, oh, actually, this game might have a little bit of something. So I think I can see where the game's getting a lot of hate online. I think those people gave it a chance, but not a proper chance. I think they just tried it, decided they hate it within 20 minutes, turn it off. I think people need to actually play this game more, and they'll learn how deep it is and how difficult it is and how fun it is. So I think it's good. Itzy is the fucking girl who I didn't think I was going to play. But then Maloon said, you and him, Davey, thought this is my character. And I was like, okay, I'll try it. I'll try her out. Fuck me, she's my character to a T. She is sick. She just run around the map, teleporting and shit, killing people. Oh, baby. This game's good. I think this game's good, but it does still have to compete with Call of Duty when the time comes. So I don't know if I'm going to be picking it up. But I think for a rating, give it a 7, I think. Maybe an 8. A generous 7. I think I'll give it because it's a strong game. But the beta just didn't have a lot in there. I think we need to see the full game to know more and see how they tweak it from what they learned through the beta.
Do you know what? I'm glad that you did give it the chance, because when we all came off after the first kind of day, we were all in our group chat, and I was really surprised at how much I'd enjoyed it. And I think that was the same for Phil and for Lewis and for Maloon. And then you were really low on it. And I was thinking, I'm really surprised because there's a lot here to like unpack. It's not like COD. It's not like, any of these other games we play. It's very different from those. And I thought it kind of struck this, kind of scratched this itch that I didn't know I needed scratched, And I found that the more I played it, and the more different legends I understood and their roles and how the team can work together and how you can really turn around games that in a lot kind of more impactful way than you can with most shooters that we play anyway. Yeah. Like if you and me, if our team's getting fucked on COD, but you and me have a great game, you and me have had a great game, but the team's still lost. Whereas on this, you can really just rally. And as soon as you start going on you start turning the tide, it can just start washing over teams. And they've got to then find a way to be able to rally back. So I was surprised that you weren't enjoying it, but I'm glad that with that extra little bit of time on it and finding a legend that spoke to how you play games, that kind of marriage kind of came together in this. I suppose the big question for me, and I'm sure Phil's got a load, would you be considering picking this up in the next couple of weeks?
It's just timing, man. If it wasn't for Call of Duty launching right after, I think it's 100%, yeah, I'd purchase it. Because if it's only like 30 quid or something as well, it's not a big ask, and it deserves that price point. That price point is fucking cheap for what the game is. That game felt great. But it's just hard to say if I'll pick it up. It depends how excited I am for it when it releases. But if I think I'm gonna want to buy it, and I'll end up just stopping myself and thinking COD's in like fucking a month or 2 months. I don't think I'll be buying it.
Fair enough. Got a quick question. Phil Hoy, podcaster, big fan of yours, Spencer.
Thank you.
You mentioned in your little intro that you were looking forward to maybe some of the things they could possibly change when they go full release. If you were to buy it, what would be the tipping point that they could change? What was the biggest flaw in the game that you could see? The really thing that grinded your gears when you played the game, where you were like, oh, they're so close here, but if they just tweak something here, that would be, that would really elevate it. Was there one particular thing that stood out to you?
I don't think there's one big thing. There's more of a collection of little things, I think, with this game. I think for the most part, they've smashed out the park. But then there's these little things that are just more annoyances than things that would kind of affect your opinion on the game. But the biggest one is probably the modifier thing where you switch heroes and it boosts your thing. I don't think that's necessarily a bad system. I think the way they've explained it is bad. They don't really give you all the information on how it works and how to utilize it best. And even when it seems like you do try to utilize it best, it doesn't affect that much unless your knowledge on it is quite large. It's something you really need to learn to abuse rather than something that's intuitive to utilize. And that's the big one. But the other grievance I have, no final kill or play of the game at the end of a match. That'd be really nice to see, because some people are getting some sick plays in that game. And the variants having cosmetics attached to them, I don't like that either. Maybe I'd want this ability but this outfit for my character, but you don't get that choice. So those are the things I'd like to see changed in the actual release.
All really good points. I mean, for me, and this is something that after I recorded the last episode with you, Phil, I listened back and I thought, why the fuck didn't I mention the things that were actually pissing me off on the daily with it? For me, the big thing is partial reloads.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't gone that route. Because you get into a fight, and like, say you go for a kill, you get a kill. And I'm thinking, like, when I'm playing, like, Davis, for example, she's got, like, 6 shots, or Rocker, for example, 8 shots. And you might use, like, half or maybe all of your magazine. You get jumped by the rest of the squad, and you think, fuck, okay, well, I've got good health here. I could probably take this. I could probably even take this, especially if the crew come and support me. But I need to reload. So you start your reload as you start seeing them come around the corner. And then you have to dodge, right, to be able to survive. You dodge, that reload has to start again from the start. And so then you're just fucked. And you're like, right, well, there's nothing I could have done here. Whereas in COD, you know that you can start that reload, you can then dive to get out of danger, jump through a window, whatever it is, and then press square again, and you just pick back up on the end of that animation. And it's like the best thing ever. And the amount of times where I thought, fuck, I definitely could have won this. Like, if I'd had slightly faster reload. And I agree with you in terms of the crew system. I have always been like a character loyalist. I'd rather spend my time on mastering like 1 or 2 people and just getting them really fucking good with those characters, and that's it, right? Like, it's like with COD, I like LMGs and I like SMGs. I never really play assault rifles.
Yeah.
So it's one of those two. So if I'm having a really fast-paced game, I go SMG. If I want to like kind of take it a bit slower and just be a bit more careful, LMG. And that's my choices. Like 2 kind of ranges. I don't fuck with a sniper rifle. I don't fuck with shotty. Nothing like that. And so to be kind of disadvantaged in that way by either A, not dying, or B, not cycling through a range of different characters, kind of doesn't make sense to me. I don't really like the fact that somebody who's shit and is dying loads and cycling through character to character to character, not even considering really how that character may benefit the wider team and what the team needs, just cycling so they can get benefits for themselves. I don't see how that's a plus. I don't really get that as a system. And people have tried to defend it, and I've had like Maloon and Lurian trying to explain how it's a good idea, but I just can't get on board with it. I think it's just a gimmick rather than being something to actually benefit the gameplay and the team. If we form a team together, we've all got a job to do. I don't want someone all of a sudden being like, oh, well, I'm now going to play so-and-so so I can get a faster reload. No, just fucking stick in your lane. Be the character we need for the team. Like, it makes the most sense to me anyway.
I agree with what you're saying, but I also kind of, the counterpoint I would make would just be this game kind of forces you not to be a character specialist. It requires, especially if you're playing the competitive game modes, they're round based, and per round, the last character you won with is locked out. So you can't really just have 1 main or 2 mains. You need to learn at least 4. And that kind of plays into that system as well. But I do think, I agree with you, I think it's a bad way to have gone about it. I think just normal perks or a different way to work it would be far better.
It feels to me as if it's just another connection to League of Legends. And I mentioned this on the last podcast that Maloon sort of, explained to me when we were playing that there's a couple of ex-Riot devs, that put a lot of thought and effort into Concord. And when you play League, you don't tend to have a main as such. You tend to have a responsibility. So you're either top, middle, bottom, or, the jungle. But in this game, obviously, you're forced to switch around the characters. So, you have to switch between maybe having Rocker as your DPS, and then maybe you're in a tank later on. So it forces you to switch it up. And I think League very much does that as well. You don't ever just stay one character. Of course, you have a main as such, but it's all team dependent, isn't it? And I think as this game progresses, you'll probably find out that people are almost doing counter picks when they're selecting the teams. They'll understand what this team is going to bring. Oh, I'm going to swap out to this character because this character counter picks that character. And I think that's what they were thinking with this. But you guys are right. It's annoying for people who are character loyalists. It really is.
I suppose that's a really good point. As the meta kind of evolves with the game when it comes on to launch, then these kind of matchups will become a bit more distinct. I mean, for me, I found in the second beta that I kind of stumbled into a new main, into I think I'm saying it right, Amari, which is the big tank with the fucking Gatling gun. And she on first play, I thought she was shit, and then quickly I realized that she was just an absolute monster. And she had so much for the team, and she had so much for everyone else, as well as just 1v1, she just smokes anyone. Like, there's nobody that can stand you. It takes, like, a whole team to, like, really smoke her, because at any point, she could just give herself 200 armor. And it's like, okay. Like, what the fuck's anyone going to do about that? Like, nothing, right? God, please don't nerf her. I hope her pick rate's low. Give her buffs, that'd be wild. But, yeah, I think I came away from the second beta feeling even more positive on it. And now that we've had like a week away from it, I really miss it. I'm really missing it. And last time I was saying on that show, I wasn't sure if I'm getting it. I don't know. I'm going to buy it.
100%.
Yeah, I'm going to buy it. I miss it, man. And even if we get 2 months out of it, that's 2 months of play out of a game for 35 quid. That ain't bad.
And it's only going to be a waterfall effect, Spence. If one person buys it, everyone's going to want to buy this, because it is a game that you need to play with friends. So if Davey buys it and none of us buy it, Davey won't play it. I can't imagine you spending a lot of time in it. We all need to be in together. A lot like Helldivers in that sense. It's better with friends. It very much is. So if Davey, you're buying it, I'm putting the £34 down as well on the 23rd of August.
Damn.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, the waterfall effect applies in other ways too. If Davey's buying it, I ain't got to buy it. That's what, if he's got a game, if he's about to buy a game, but he needs someone to play with, no matter what, he knows I will have access to that game. So it's quite beneficial for him in that sense. So I ain't even going to buy it, but if you are, you best bet I'm playing it.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll see you on the battlefield, my friend. I'll be looking forward to that. Can't come soon enough. Okay then, so that wraps up the Concord conversation. Spence, what else have you been playing these last 2 weeks?
Okay, so it's actually quite a big list of games, but I probably won't go on about them too long. So the first one I'll mention, you talked about it last week, Davey, Barry the Bunny. You and I were just looking on the PlayStation Store, found some silly games, and they were cheap as chips, so we bought them and gave them a go. And very much like you, my friend, I have got the platinum for Barry the Bunny.
Ooh, that's a platinum.
What a game, mind. Actually a sick game. I won't talk about it too much because it's already been explained. Barry the Bunny is sick. It's really fucking good. And the platinum, it's a nice, easy platinum because you don't even need to beat the game. But I might go back to it and finish it anyway because it is really fucking good and actually really challenging. So everyone, it's probably like £1.20 or something.
Yeah, about that.
Listeners, please play Barry the Bunny. Game of the year. It's gonna be. It's a great game.
Jeez.
But during that night where we were looking at games, Davey, you found Barry the Bunny, but you also found something else, which was Waifu Impact. And as soon as you told me about that, I was like, "Hey yo!" And I bought Waifu Impact. This game, you start there's 6 different waifus you have to unlock, and you unlock them by getting 60 kills with a waifu. So they've all got water guns, and they're all different water guns. So the first one starts with just a normal assault rifle water gun. It's a bit slow. It's decent though. And then after you get 60 kills, so you're kind of like in a battle royale island, collecting these stars. But there are these waifus who are all the same waifu, by the way, running at you, trying to kill you, with the worst AI I have ever seen. And you just kill 60 of them. You unlock the next character. Oh no, actually, sorry. You kill 60 for the trophies with the women. You got to go collect 25 stars that are placed around this map. And that's how you unlock all the waifus. So each waifu's different. So one of them's got a sniper water gun, which one-shots enemies. One's an SMG, which is mad. Rapid as hell. One's like a rocket launcher. One's a shotgun. It's actually quite sick. And they're all these waifus, different characters, different designs. Lovely. But you got to think, surely 60 kills with 6 waifus is a slog. Well, good news. After you unlock all of them and you get all the stars, you unlock arena mode, which is basically like COD Zombies, where it's waves and then all these waifus spawn in and you just take them out and try to survive, which speeds up the trophies like no one's business. And that night, after doing all that, I got the platinum.
Ooh, that's a platinum.
Any questions about Waifu Impact, boys?
Does that mean you're now on a list
Yeah.
buying a game like that?
I've been on that list for years, mate. Don't you worry.
Okay.
I remember watching this. Like when I was playing Barry the Bunny, I had screen share on and you had Waifu Impact on, and we were just fucking laughing at it. And it turned out there was just like a couple that you bought, a couple of these waifus, and they were just cracked out the ass. Like there was some where it was just like the gun they had was just unfair. Like you're just absolutely bodying enemies. Who was the best girl? Who was the best waifu?
It's either the submachine girl, because that's the one where you actually put the screen share full screen, and when she shoots, it's like it's nuts. It's like you got a little minigun. It's wild, and you on the mic were like, "Holy shit!" It's like, "Yo, this is busted." But then the sniper girl, because it's always a one shot, no matter where you hit them, busted, and you just flick on people, bang, reload, bang. It's quite fun. The game isn't good, but there are aspects that you can appreciate about it.
Do these waifus have names other than Submachine Waifu?
They do.
Or are they all named after guns?
No, they've all got actual names.
Do they have personality traits? Does one like cooking, one like cleaning?
I don't know. I didn't get to ask them.
And one's a university professor. One's an astronaut.
I think they all had descriptions, but I wasn't that invested in the game to find out.
Okay.
So I don't know. But
you didn't learn the backstory of the waifus?
I didn't, mate. There's not even like a wiki or anything. You can't look up the characters' names. The only way I found them is some guys made a video of how to get all characters, and he's put it into chapters, so it tells me. So the first girl is Rika, then Haruka, then Shanae, I think, Yukina, Aiko, Akane, and Setsuna. And those are all the waifus. And I know Setsuna's the one with the snipers. You get her last. And she's...
And you're judging them on looks and what gun they're packing.
Just on what gun. I don't care about the looks too much. It's just what gun they're packing. Because they're all beautiful in their own way.
They're all babes.
Yeah.
They're all babes with like horrific graphics.
Yeah.
Like horrific graphics.
I don't even want to Google it.
Yeah, don't Google it. You'll be put on the list too. Yeah. I'm glad that I saw it through there. But the good thing is, if I'm ever down bad...
You got it. You could get it.
I got the game.
Mate, it's like a 1 hour platinum. You may as well.
Yeah.
Piece of piss.
Yeah.
It might be like 2 hours, actually. It was quite long.
I think I'm right on that precipice of having like a really nice like trophy count. I think I'm on like 124 or something now. Ooh. So I don't want to do it for my 125th, but for my 126th, I mean,
waifu impact.
You know, I'm only human, bro. Gotta look at some waifus.
Is that what you're going to say when your missus walks in? I'm only human. I'm only human. It's waifus with guns. Come on.
She's probably like, oh, yeah, okay. All right, yeah, sure. It's better than Stellar Blade. Yeah. Yeah, it's not as lewd.
Yeah.
That's just a waifu with a sword.
Oh, dear. Oh, mate. Well, I'm glad you jumped on the sword for us. Is there another game that you've been playing, another kind of big hitter, or is it just another juicer of a platinum coming up here?
There's another game I've played. This one isn't from the fodder list that we looked through to find Barry the Bunny, which turns out to be goated, and Waifu Impact, which, let's be honest, was a fucking terrible game. It was bad. This game, I actually really enjoyed. This Life is Strange True Colors. I finally got around to playing it just because I wanted like a palate cleanser after playing those two fucking games. And then after coming off, say, big experiences back to back and all that nonsense, I wanted something short and sweet that you can just... It's a film, innit? You don't even play it. It's a film. But Life is Strange True Colors, mate. Fantastic game. Really, really good. I wasn't enjoying it at the start. I really wasn't. But as soon as I got into like chapter 2, so like 2 hours in, started loving it. And it was great. The music's fantastic. The story's fantastic. The choices you get are all great. The twist and everything's fantastic. I'm not going to spoil it. I don't know. Can I spoil it?
I'd say probably not. I know Phil hasn't played any of the Life is Stranges, and even though it's not connected to like some of the ones coming out later this year, it's still... I mean, like, I think at the time when I played it a couple of years ago, I think I put it into my Game of the Year list for like a top 5. I loved it, man. I found it really hit me on an emotional level. So yeah, I'd probably say don't, like, avoid spoilers if you can.
That's fair. That's okay. I won't spoil it then. But it's just, all I can say is just really good game. The empathy powers are actually quite good. you wouldn't think they'd be just from hearing it. Oh, you got powers to feel what other people are feeling. You're like, oh, well, great. But turns out you also find out why they're feeling it and you figure out how to change their mood. So it's quite nice and able to help people like that. It feels lovely. And the story's just really good. So I loved it. I think I'd give it an 8. I thought it was really good. Really good and the perfect length for a Life is Strange game. So very, very good.
Nice, mate. Well, I'm glad you finally got round to it. It's one of those ones that I remember lending you fucking ages ago, and now it's on PS Extra, so anybody can get it. There he is. But yeah, anybody can get it and play it on PS Extra right now, and I'd agree with you. I'd probably go in a bit higher. I'd probably go for a 9 out of 10. It really hit me on an emotional level. I loved it. And especially after playing Life is Strange 2, which I didn't really vibe with very much. It was like a massive upswing, you know? Like going from 1 to 3, you're probably thinking, oh my God, the series doesn't miss. But it kind of does with 2. It's definitely not very good. But yeah, I thought it was just a total return to form. And as you said, the soundtrack, as soon as I play these games, I get so many like songs just put into my Spotify player straight away from all these different indie bands. And I think just being in the mountain town that you're set in that place and go to like the music store and all that and working at the radio, it's just class.
It is, yeah.
It's just fucking great.
I will say one last thing about it as well. It is also another platinum.
Ooh, that's a platinum.
Bloody hell, knocking it out of the park this week, Spence.
Let's go, triple platinum. To be fair, I'm not too happy with the other 2 platinums. But this one, Life is Strange True Colors, is a real platinum. And it actually helps you get the trophies so easy. The chapter select system is perfect. It takes no time at all to go back and clean up your trophies if you missed any. And I missed fucking loads, it turns out. So, great game. And a nice, easy platinum.
Well done, my friend. Absolutely love to hear it. Well, there's one final game that we need to talk about, Spence. But before we do, I think we move it on to Phil. Because Phil's been sitting here patiently waiting to talk about his game. So, Phil, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been sat here twiddling my thumbs. Spence, that's a butt ton of games, but you have been off for 4 weeks. So, I'm glad you've been playing some games, mate. And I'm glad you've been racking up those platinum trophies.
Oh, yeah.
One much better than the other 2, but congratulations on getting the trifecta of platinum trophies. We don't generally get that on the podcast. Generally, it's 1 or at max 2, but I think you've broken the record. So what are we? Episode 59, and the record now is set. Someone update the Wikipedia right now. 3 trophies.
Ooh, that might not be true. Because remember, there was the episode early days where I just played like Chicken on the Run. My name is Mayo. Oh, I don't know how many I got that time, but
that was a big one.
Someone will have to listen back.
They're all really shit platinums. So I don't know. I don't know if we take this one because one of them's legit. I don't know what the ruling is.
I think it would be up for the fans who want to do the trek through. Because I know that I've had a week before at the start of PlayStation 5 where we had like Astrobot, Demon Souls, and there was something else there as well. So I think and that was all pretty quick fire because I had time off. So I was just playing these games. So we've had times we've had multiples. I can't remember a time more than 3. But I'll say for argument's sake, this counts, man. 3's 3.
It's the recency biased. Well done, Spence. Congratulations. Well, I'm not going to join you on your platinum run. And I don't think I'm even close to the platinum on the game I've been playing because I've been putting in copious amounts of time now into Dave the Diver. I'm absolutely addicted to this game. I've got plenty of games to play. I've got plenty of AAA games to play. I need to finish Stellar Blade. I need to finish Armored Core. No, I've been spending all my time in Dave the Diver because I cannot put that damn game down. I'm at chapter 6 now, which is the Melting Glacier. And I think there's 7 chapters altogether, so I'm right at the end now. The story kind of is wrapping up, finding out where we're going with that. And I've pretty much unlocked the vast majority of kind of elements to the game. And now this game, as I've said, each time you progress through a chapter, generally something else gets added that you have to maintain over your day. So you wake up in the sushi... No, actually, you wake up on the boat, and then you go to the sushi shop, you feed your cats. That's always the first thing I do, give the cat a stroke. Make sure your staff are happy, and make sure your stocks are looking good for the evening ahead. Then you pop over to the farm, check on your chickens. Have they laid an egg? Have they not laid an egg? If they've laid an egg, make sure to send it back to the sushi shop. Then you go over to your fields, water your plants. Any spaces where the plants have grown, you can plant new plants. And then you go over to the rice field and you dig up the weeds and make sure all the rice is growing for the next day. Then you wander off to the nursery where you can check out all the different fish you've caught. So you try and catch 3-star fish in each of the different levels of the ocean. And they mate. And then you can generate your own fish for your sushi shop, which is incredible going along. You go to a certain tank and you've got like 8 sharks. And you're like, Jesus Christ, they're at it day and night. And let me tell you, they are. And they taste incredible. Incredible. The latest thing I've just unlocked, and you'll laugh at this, is a franchise shop of my sushi shop because I'm doing so damn well in Dave the Diver. I now have another shop which I manage. I pop over there from time to time, make sure all the staff is nice and trained up, wish them good day, and then I'm off for a night or rest of the day of fishing, and then maybe a dip into the night and do a bit of night fishing because there's something that's come up later on in the game which you boys will like. It's called a stormy night, and these are the particularly elevated boss fights within Dave the Diver. So there's 2 bosses that are quite difficult compared to anything else in the whole of Dave the Diver, because it's a relatively easy game. You go along, you shoot the sharks with your your super overpowered sniper rifle, and 3 shots, most of them are dead. But like the stormy night fights, they're a little bit more intense. There's things happening. There's a big shark and there's a big, what would you call it? Punching crustacean. I think it's like a lobster that has boxing gloves. Nice. So yeah, I've beaten both of those, which are fun. And you do those in the night, and the night dives are always a little bit more dangerous than the day drives. And then once you're done, you collect all the bits and pieces. You go up back to the boat, back to the shop, and you then do the cooking mama thing. You go along, you choose your menu, you press go. And then all hell breaks loose. You got people coming into the shop. You got to serve them up the sushi. You got to pull a pint. You got to pour them the waters. You got to pull them the cocktails, and you've got to do so many different things. And it's getting quite complex at the moment, but I'm loving every single second of it. I think I may have rated this a 7 before.
I don't know where you came in on it. Maybe an 8.
Yeah, maybe an 8. Maybe an 8. I think I might want to go higher. Ooh. I'm really, really enjoying this game. I think it's pushing up to like that 8.5, close to the 8.9. It might get to a 9 if it has a good crescendo at the end of the game. But yeah, it's very entertaining, and I literally cannot put it down. There is, as I said, so many elements going on now that you have to like micromanage, and it's a bit of me. I really enjoy this type of management game. I really do. This is probably why I quite like mobile games as well. You nip on, you do a little bit, log back off. Dave the Diver's just that in an elevated way.
And I suppose that's probably why it suited you playing it so much on the Portal then, I guess, right? Like, and I suppose the big question for me is, when this ends, and you are finished, and you've reached that crescendo, and you're looking over the horizon, what's next for the Portal? What's going to be the next game that you think, that's what I'm going to go for?
Wow, I've been rubbing my hands together, thinking about that Cat Quest.
Oh,
that's come out. There's 1, 2, and 3, and I think we've got access to all 3 now on the service. So that might be a possibility. I quite enjoyed that vibe when we talked about Cat Quest previously, and and having it accessible on the service is brilliant. I won't have to pay for them. So possibly Cat Quest. I'm thinking about a Cat Quest. Unless, of course, anyone would like to suggest a game that I could try out on Portal. I'm definitely not playing Waifu Impact or Barry the Bunny. Or maybe Barry the Bunny seemed all right. A little bit more of a game than Waifu Impact. But I'm open to suggestions.
Well, I would like to hear more about PS Portal, because I was sitting there before we started the show, and I thought, we're always hearing about the fucking PS Portal at the moment, and it's become a thing that's basically like its own segment of the show. So I thought, isn't it about time that we write a new jingle? And so I've only gone and made a jingle for the PS Portal. So whenever someone goes on about the PS Portal, this jingle can get played. Enjoy, guys. Well, sorry guys on YouTube, you're not going to hear this. It got copyright struck. So if you want to hear it, check out the short that will be on the channel momentarily, or go onto the Spotify and give it a look over there. And while you're there, chuck a rating on. Always appreciate it. Back to the show.
Fucking mate, brilliant, fair play. But did you not learn from us having to shorten rumor has it?
Yeah.
That was really long at first as well. That took the piss. I'm not. It's really kids.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those ones. It's like with the original, like Bug Hunter themes and everything. The second time round, it's a shorter one. For the first kind of unveiling of it, I thought, let's go all out with this. Let's go all out. And I thought, oh, do you know what? I just want to just do something, just to commemorate the PS Portal. It's become a staple of the show at the moment. It comes up all the time.
It does.
And why not give it its own little segment? So anytime the PS Portal's coming up, we got a nice little jingle there for you, Phil.
I've got a feeling you're going to buy one. You've now created a jingle for it.
He is.
That's so self-absorbed, surely. Create the jingle, buy the Portal, set yourself up. You know, it's your villain arc because you hated it at the start. You've now twisted over to the good side. You're like a reverse Tony Stark now. You're coming back with the PlayStation Portal. Champion it.
It's getting more and more likely. I just bought the PlayStation Edge. It's next, really, isn't it?
He wants it.
It's next.
It's going to happen.
The amount of times I've just been thinking, fucking hell. Like the missus been watching, what's she been watching lately? Fucking CSI Miami or whatever.
Oh, God, bore off.
And I'm just like sitting
Hate
there.
that show.
And I don't want to be like, I'm going upstairs. I do. Just be like, yeah, I'm going upstairs. But I could just do what you've done and just pull out the Portal. And then it's like a nice compromise, in it. And I don't have to be the villain of the story, even though at the moment I'm wearing that hat quite well.
You're there in body, but you're definitely not there in mind.
Yeah. But there you go. A nice little addition to the show. But before we end this section, there's one other game that we're going to end on today. And I can't imagine it's going to be a very nice way to end, to be honest, because Spence, you managed to get access to the Marvel Rivals beta. Now, this is, of course, the game that is kind of, I mean, what is it? A hero shooter? Is that what it is?
Yeah,
is
it's
a MOBA. What is it?
It's a team-based hero shooter. It's literally Overwatch, but with Marvel characters. That is all it is.
And it sucks ass, doesn't it?
Well, I've been thinking about this. Because I hated Concord day one. And I know we both immediately didn't like Marvel Rivals. The last game we played, I played quite nice. And I was thinking to myself, because I've seen lots of clips of people really liking Marvel Rivals. And I'm thinking maybe we just didn't give it a good enough crack. Maybe it's quite a good game, but I don't know. Overwatch has the same thing where you can just run out and get popped and just die. And feel like you're doing nothing to other people. It's just learning how the game works, I think. I think we just need to give it more time. And it might be good. But as it currently stands, yeah, it's dog shit.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's all flash. Like, it looks amazing. And certain people play really, really well. Like, the Punisher, great to play. Like, absolutely smokes people. Really fun, really fluid. Storm, absolutely cracked out the arse. Like, she's so good. There's just these huge differences, though, in that there doesn't feel like there's any feedback. Like, you can just get smoked and you're like, oh, was I even getting hurt? Oh, was someone even there? Like, I don't know, it just feels like there's something missing here. It feels like a mobile game. And that's pretty much exactly what it is, right? But it feels like that. And sure, you can have a great game. I think that last game you played where you did really, really well. I wasn't too far behind with the Punisher. He was doing work. But it's not enough. Like, it's not enough just to win. There was something missing in the loop or in the way everyone kind of works together that I just couldn't quite get on board with. And I mean, sure, if you're desperate, I'll re-download it. But I was quite happy deleting it and saying, no, this ain't for me.
See, I never deleted it. I still have it installed. And I know they're patching it through the beta as well. Because they've just added a new character. Is it Jeff the Shark? Yeah, it's just Jeff the Land Shark, and you're just a little shark that runs about. I'm not sure what he does, but it's a new character in the game. All I've seen is a clip of him getting absolutely annihilated by the Hulk. So I have no idea what he does, except he's a shark on land. And mate, you love shark.
I do. I do. But it wasn't enough to get me in the door for Suicide Squad. So I can't imagine it's going to be enough to get me in to play as little Jeff. You know, King Shark's way cooler than little Jeff Shark. But... you know, and why would I do that when I could play as like Venom or I could play as Spidey or any of these other people? Even though Venom felt pretty shit, Spidey felt pretty fucking shit.
Yeah.
And it was only really when I played a character with guns or shooting stuff. Iron Man felt great.
Yeah, Scarlet Witch, mate, great.
And anyone with projectiles like that feels pretty good. anyone else feels a bit shit. Like, even I was getting smoked by Black Panther. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I bet he's going to be good to play. No, just a bit janky because the wall interactions don't really work all that well. And he's kind of jumping off stuff and he kind of gets stuck in scenery. And yeah, just a bit better just being Frank Castle just with a giant machine gun and just mowing people down. Turns out that Magneto, as good as he is with magnetism, can't do anything against bullets, you know? Like, he gets smoked by Punisher. Punisher just absolutely riddling everyone with his fucking minigun. So, I don't know. Feels low budget to me and like in the gameplay feel.
So I haven't played Marvel Rivals. I've only played Concord, but we've got two hero shooters here. So is there something that fundamentally Concord has achieved which Marvel Rivals really fails at? You know, Marvel is famous, obviously, for its characters, so it does surprise me that they haven't been executed very well, but maybe that's more down to balancing than anything else. Is there anything specific that you would pick out, guys? I'll come over to Spencer first on that one, because you've played them both, Spence. Mm-hmm. How do you feel? What is the fundamental difference that elevates Concord and maybe doesn't show off Marvel Rivals to its best abilities?
Well, you can have all the characters and the IPs, but it doesn't mean jack shit if the game isn't fun. And Marvel Rivals just wasn't very fun to play at all. So with Concord having characters that I have no relation to at all, do not give a shit, I could learn to like them because the game's actually fun. Even if you put like, oh, God knows, what could I even say? I adore Dragon Ball. But just because they make a Dragon Ball film doesn't mean it's going to be a good film. Dragon Ball Evolution sucked dick. So just because this is a game with Spider-Man and everyone doesn't necessarily mean it's good. And I feel like that's what they've leaned into. The budget is definitely there because the presentation is fucking phenomenal. It's fantastic. The menus are beautiful. All the characters look great. The designs are amazing. But you get into a game and you hate every second of it. It's just not fun. Maybe if you had a full team of 5, all your mates, and you could actually like plan something and play as a unit, it might be better. But as it feels, a lot of the characters just feel weak in comparison to some others. And it's kind of something they can't change because they're using characters that we already know. So they can't suddenly make Spider-Man a ranged character. It's impossible. So they're going to have to like kind of completely change how he works as a melee fighter to make him fun. Because what they've got currently isn't good at all. Whereas with Concord, because these characters are whatever they want them to be, they don't have that limitations that Marvel Rivals has.
So you're saying they're limited by their characters. That's really interesting when it comes to Marvel. Would you agree with that then, Davey?
I think for me, it's not even so much the design of the characters, or it's just the tactile feel of it. And it's quite a hard thing to really explain, but when the controller's in your hands, it doesn't feel like as if there's any kind of like feel behind what you're doing. Like, you're just doing stuff. Like, you're doing stuff, things are happening, but you don't really get that connection between your actions and whatever is happening on the battlefield. That's how it felt to me. Like, no matter who I played, I'd be sitting at the back as Magneto. He's like a support character, so you're like supporting everyone. You're throwing out like fucking countless amounts of projectiles. They're doing fuck all damage, really, but you're there to kind of keep everyone else alive and keep them armored up and all that stuff. So you know your role. But you're just kind of going with it. And it's just like, you're kind of like... and that's kind of the feeling that you get. It's just like... this is all right. This looks pretty. And you're kind of just walking along or flying along, just waiting for ability bars to cool down before you press the next button again, and just wait again for the next 5 seconds while everyone else is kind of having fun and you're just sitting at the back. And then if you're in the mix... thinking, oh, this is going to be great. And then you're like, oh, I'm just dead. Well, what killed me? Oh, and you look at the replay back, you're like, oh, I didn't even notice I was even being shot 500 times. Because you are being shot 500 times, but the game doesn't really do a good way of communicating that either there's like no force feedback or whatever. There's something missing there to kind of tie your actions into the game. And I can't really describe it. It's just that with Concord, that minute-to-minute gameplay that you have, you kind of know where you fucked up. You know, without even playing too long, like you can kind of just get the sense that your actions can make a big impact when you're working with other people. But here, it kind of all felt like a bit of a clusterfuck. And it was all just kind of all happening. And it was nuts and crazy, but not in a good, fun way that kind of engages you with that. You kind of just feel like as if, oh, I'll just respawn again. Oh, did we win? Did we lose? Oh, okay. And it was just very meh. Just a bland gameplay experience. Like, no real character there. Even though the characters themselves, and as Spence said, the art styles and the animation and all that is just absolutely beautiful. It's just that disconnect in the gameplay that kind of brings it all down.
And I guess that's something that they're going to struggle to sort of correct now, as it's in beta, and they'll want to get it out to the greater population on PlayStation, because it has already been out, right, on PC. Am I correct in saying that?
There was an alpha that was PC only.
They should have got this feedback then from the player base.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, me and Davey don't seem to be in the majority. We seem to be the minority. A lot of people are loving this game. And I don't understand why. I think maybe they just love Marvel to the point that they don't care. They're like, oh, look what Spider-Man can do, rather than caring about how it actually feels to do what he's doing. But I don't know, it's weird. We seem to be in the minority, but it's I don't know how.
I think it's just one of those things that, you know, this is still a closed beta. And so people would have been keen to get involved and to get in there. So that probably already like peaks it up a little bit, right? And maybe when this goes further on down the line and it opens up to more people, we'll see. And who knows? Maybe, as you said, with patches, maybe they will improve it. Maybe it is something that we should go back and give a couple of chances to and not just close our eyes to it. But I just feel like as if there's just a better experience in Concord that we just played.
Yeah.
And like, why would I kind of want to waste my time here? But listeners, I would love to know how you feel about Marvel Rivals or any of the games we played here today. Are me and Spence in the minority, or do you feel very similar to us? Let us know. Write into the email psvtrust@gmail.com or hit us up on any of the socials, and we would love to hear your thoughts. Now let's move it on to quick news. Quick news.
Quick news. And thank you very much, listeners and viewers, for sticking with us to quick news. This is the part of the show where we pick the latest and greatest from the PlayStation Nation to present to you. But this time around, and I say this time, for the last couple of episodes, we've been challenging each other to word association. So the way we play this game is I give a starting word, then we go round to Davey, then to Spencer, and back round to myself. And if there's any pauses, or if there's any hesitation, or if there's a repeat and it carries on throughout the whole of this episode. So we've got 6 quick newses. So if someone says banana at the start and someone says banana at the end, if we catch them out, then they have a mark against their name. And ultimately, the loser gets a shot in the dock. And that's what really matters here. It's not about the quick news. It's about racking up those shots for episode 100. We're almost there. This episode 95, so we've got 5 more to go, and we just need to get some shots in the dock. Okay, so I'll start off this one, and it's going to go round to you, Davey, first. And the starter word for tonight is ice cube.
Rapper.
Candy.
Twister.
Lolly.
Oh, shit.
Oh, fuck.
I was going to propose a rule as well. I'm glad I didn't say anything. Never mind.
Spence, you probably don't know this. You know you lost last quick news as well, right?
Why?
You haven't listened to the episode, have you?
No, I was going to come in and say, because I wasn't present for last episode, if I lose here, it counts for 2 points rather than 1.
No,
Lewis
buddy.
played for you last time.
See, I knew you'd do that, and I thought that is such fucking bullshit.
Why? Why? He
it's Lewis.
tried his best.
He did try and
was he?
win.
How good was he?
He was all right.
It was close.
You know how fast Lewis is. He's pretty fast on the trigger.
I don't know. I'm going to listen back to that. And find
Yeah,
out.
listen back. But you're a shot in the dock from the last episode.
That's crazy. Of course he'd lose. Of course he'd lose. What do you mean?
Rolling the dice, mate. Rolling the dice. Quick news. I know we just spoke about Concord, but we got more details about Concord. So after the closure of the beta, we then had a load of updates, actually 4 pictures, I believe, that the Concord team put up. And here are the kind of details from it, and I think these are pretty nice. So Concord launch details are, there is no Battle Pass. There's post-launch new characters, maps, and modes available free to all players. You, of course, get a weekly cinematic, as we already knew about, 12 maps with 6 distinct game modes, hundreds of cosmetic items earned by just playing the game, no solo modes at all, and there will be a training mode, so you can get good with those different heroes. Now, guys, what do you feel about this? I think for me, this is some crazy stuff included in this. Phil, I want to get your thoughts first.
Well, Davey, I'm glad you asked. And I've been asked pretty much all week, all last week, all the week before when I've been tweeting about Concord on this very subject, because it is extremely player first. Everything they're doing it, or it feels like they're doing it for us. They're not out to nickel and dime like most shooters out there. They tend to have the battle passes. They tend to have, things that you can buy all the time. You could be Homelander in COD, and you get suckered into that. You're playing for a little bit, and they've wasted 20 quid. And ultimately, it just keeps racking up the price that you've spent on that game. That's ultimately the same. Now, Concord, as I said, they've taken a different approach here. And I love it. And it's part of the reason why I'm going to buy this game. Because, as I said, it's extremely player first and it's ticking all my boxes. No battle passes is incredible. But there is a but here. Is it going to suffer? Because they're promising a hell of a lot. I don't know how they're going to sustain the ongoing costs for this. But hey, as a player, I'm happy. So I haven't got any complaints. Love it.
Nice, glad to hear it. What about yourself, Spence?
See, for me, I think a lot of this I already expected, I think. So, say the 12 maps, 6 game modes. 12 maps is nice. That is a lot of maps for a game like this. But those could be like spread out across the game modes. So there might only be like 4 maps for Team Deathmatch, 4 maps for Search and Destroy. There might not be 12 maps like per mode. I imagine it's going to be a limited amount. That's probably spread across. The good thing, no battle pass. Didn't think they'd do that. I really thought we'd get a battle pass. And I wouldn't blame them if they did one. I think it's a bit strange they've chosen not to, because it's just money that they're choosing to miss. But I understand them doing it to kind of get in a player's good books. Everyone always kicks off about battle passes, but then they always buy it anyway. And every game has a battle pass. It's not really a toxic thing to have in a game anymore. It's just commonplace. Like Helldivers does it great. Helldivers has like 6 battle passes, and no one bats an eye. So if your game's good enough, a battle pass is completely fine. So I think they might have messed up with that. But then also just weekly cinematics, I don't give a shit. I really don't care for the weekly cinematics. That is so much money that is going to cost you to do that every week, when I'm going to skip it so I can play your game. What is wrong with you? I really don't. It's mad. And I just need to know what the timescale is on this. How many weeks? Because it can't be till the day the game dies. It's impossible. Surely it's like maybe half a year, maybe 3 months, maybe a year. If it is longer than that, then they are just throwing money away because no one cares about them.
I reckon you might be surprised that there are people that do care. Like, if you think about Apex, right? We don't care about the lore. Or Dead by Daylight. You get a new opening cinematic. Sometimes I'll watch. Most of the time I just skip them at the start of a new season. And that's the same with Apex or anything else. But there are people who live and die by it, right? And there's books that get written about the lore, and people like really get invested by it. If Concord does have a future, not saying it does, but if it does have a future where it's got legs, then you think about the different merchandising opportunities that come from having lore. Be that TV show, or be that like a movie, or be that just a comic book run, or an art book, or a little plushie, or whatever it is, right? It's just, the more of this stuff you have, it does make sense to be able to grow a franchise. And I don't think having 52 cinematics for a year is a big ask, really. I really don't. Like, I just played Final Fantasy, and it had way more than 52. Fucking too many, if you ask me. And do I care about these? No. And I don't really give a flying fuck. I don't care. I know they're amusing. I know people really like them. Did you see that newest one about one-off? I don't give a fuck. All I want to know is what he does in the game, and I want to play him. And that's it. I don't care. But we're not everyone. And there are people there who this will be a nice little selling point for them. And it might be that thing that they think, oh, I haven't logged in for this week. I wouldn't mind seeing what that cinematic is and going on. You never know, right? It's a stretch, granted.
Also, yeah, but then what happens? Say you miss a week, man. You miss a week, then you're not privy to all the lore. You might have missed something big. Haymar's dead now, apparently. Oh, what? Taking out the game, and you just be like, what the fuck? Where's Haymar gone? No one knows. If you miss a week, you're fucked. Unless they're all going to be on YouTube and stuff, sure. But I guarantee in-game you won't be able to watch the last cutscene. It's just going to be something that loads up when you open the game. And that is going to be it. Same as like Apex and stuff. You can't go back and watch last season's cutscene. It's just gone with the wind. And that happened with this as well. And I think, sure, a lot of people do like lore. It's definitely the minority. And I think they'll find, depending on how big these cinematics go, that they're spending more than they're getting returned to. So I think we'll see. I think it's questionable. I think it's something that doesn't impact your game at all, other than, like you said, maybe helping merchandising and being able to sell the IP in different means, like a show and stuff. But in terms of merchandise, like plushies, tops, you could have those anyway. You don't need lore for that. Fine.
I just don't understand the cadence of these cinematics. Weekly. Surely you would just have monthly, and then you cut it down to 12, and then that's much more achievable, isn't it, than 52? And these only have to be, you know, a couple of minutes, or not even that, really, just to knock them out and continue the story and keep people's interest. Because you're right, Spence, there's going to be people out there that won't play it every week, that will dip in from time to time when their friends are available. Because you need friends to play Concord, or you need a team, you need a crew, as I remarked at the start of the episode, and you need to be together to play these games, and maybe that isn't available for everybody. But yeah, ultimately it's just going to be on YouTube, and that'll probably just generate more money for them if they can gain that interest where people want to see these.
The crazy thing for me in here is the no battle pass, right? And I know you guys have already said about this. I think this might be a bit of a mistake, if I'm honest, because I feel like, did anyone bat an eyelid at Helldivers having a battle pass on the rip? No. No one gave a fuck. I wouldn't care. And if I'm playing it, I think, oh, I bought it for 35 quid. It's got a battle pass here. All right. Why didn't you just say, yeah, we got a battle pass, season 1 free to all players? And then it at least puts the idea out there, right? That, yeah, we'll have a battle pass. And that's how you know that they'll keep this alive for the long term, is because they will have that. Like, otherwise, you can't, we all know from COD's mistakes in the past, you can't lock maps. You can't, because then it splits up the player base. So the only other thing you could do is, down the line, you can introduce characters which are then paid. And you could do that. And that's still a way to be able to do it. And I don't think there's any problem with that. You know, you get like a couple of seasons in, new characters, they got cool ass abilities, $5 or whatever, or a whole season pass worth, like Street Fighter are doing. No issue. I got no issue whatsoever with that. But I feel like not having a battle pass is like a statement that you kind of launch with as a way to get goodwill, but you could do it in a different way and still get goodwill. Like, everyone gets access to the battle pass. And it's just, cool, thanks. You know, and be like, oh, cheers, thanks a lot for that.
I think it just shows how keen Sony are to be successful in this space. They're willing to go without that extra income to encourage players to come and play their game, because they don't get nickel and dimed. And I think they've set out with that thought at the start of this game, and it's built throughout all the different elements. And of course, that might change later down the line when, yes, they're not earning enough to sustain the outcome. But for the introduction, I'm absolutely loving it, as I said.
Yeah, it's a good point. And time will tell, won't it? You know, we'll get 6 months on from now, and how will we be looking? Will it be, is there potential that it could go into PS Plus? At which point, then at that point, you know they're going to hit the button on some monetization stuff, like they have to at that point. Watch this space. But yeah, interesting nonetheless. And as you said, Phil, very player first at the gate, which is always nice to see. So, kicking it off, we're going to be going around to yourself, Spencer. I'm going to give you the first word: banana.
Fruit.
Orange.
Apple.
Pear.
Green.
Grape.
Branch.
Tree.
Vine.
Swing.
Playground.
Slide.
Speed.
Nicolas Cage.
Dead by Daylight.
Horror.
Saw.
Jigsaw.
Puzzle.
Game.
PlayStation.
Podcast.
X marks the box.
Microphone.
Talking.
Singing.
Dancing.
Moving.
Shaking.
Jelly.
Food.
Burger.
Chips. It's going to go forever. We're on fire today.
Fish.
Diving.
Scuba.
Instructor.
Teacher.
Sensei.
Master.
Oh, he's out. He's out. Oh my God, that's the longest
out.
one yet.
I'm out.
We've got to remember all those words, mind. That sucks.
Master.
I thought you'd say Splinter, mate.
Yeah, I should have. Yeah. All of puppets.
Quick news. Now, listeners, our next bit of news, there is a new Astrobot themed DualSense. I know you can't see it. If you aren't driving or doing anything that requires too much attention, I encourage you to Google this. Just Astrobot DualSense, it will show up. If you can't Google it, I will describe it for you right now. So the grips are blue, but the rest is all white. It's like a flush matte white DualSense with white sticks, white buttons, with blue kind of accents on everything. And the touchpad is Astro's eyes. It is a very, very pretty controller. And on the back of it is a little Astrobot icon. The same one you'll find on mine or Davey's hoodie, if you've seen it in an episode before. Or the same you'd find across the Astrobot games. This controller is beautiful. It looks a bit hard plasticky rather than like matte, like most of the controllers. It looks a bit more like slipperier, I suppose. It looks like it's in, you know, some people get glass protectors, not glass, like clear plastic protectors for the controllers.
Yeah.
And I always think, what sort of fucking monster gremlin uses those? It looks like it has that already fitted onto it. But if it's flush, that's fine. I think this is beautiful. Listeners, if you're looking at it, I'd love to know if you think it's beautiful. Lads, what do you think of this handset? Davey, over to you.
I think this is the best controller they've ever made in the looks department. I mean, I bought the God of War controller. I love that controller. And there's been some really nice ones they've done. I think this is the peak. I think it's the best. And I am a sucker for that kind of blue. That royal blue is like my favorite blue. And just looks lush, especially with the blue accent for the touchpad, right? It just looks so beautiful. I love it so, so much. I really do. And, you know, coming out for a price UK $69.99, it's just normal, well, slightly more expensive than a normal pad. Launching on the same date that Astro launches on September 6th, with pre-orders launching in a couple of days on August 9th. If you want this, get your orders in, because they will not last. And I know how gutted I am. When I was looking for controllers after my God of War 1 started shit in the bed, I was like, fuck, I wish I bought the Final Fantasy 16 controller. And like, I thought, oh, I wish I had that. And now that controller is like 140 quid on eBay. So you can just imagine, like, if you get these and just keep them, you can earn a bit of a mint on it. And I think this is one that is definitely going to go out like hotcakes. So if you want it, don't delay and get your order in. Unfortunately for me, I've just sucked up for a PlayStation Edge. So I've got no need for this right now. I fucking want it though. And I showed Cass it earlier and he was like, and he loved it. So I do feel like, oh, maybe I might have to buy it for him, you know, for like maybe a Christmas present or something. But
you can't. You can't, because what will happen? You like it too much. If you buy it for him, you won't let him use it. Same as you don't let him use the God of War one.
yeah, but I got my Edge now.
You'd be like, no, Daddy will use that one. You use the black one, Cass.
Yeah, I've got my Edge now, so everything else is fine. You know, I got no worries anymore.
That's true.
So I'm kind of feel a bit freer in that department. You can use whatever you want. But yeah, that's my
fair.
thoughts, mate. I'm absolutely in love with this controller.
Nice, mate. Nice. Phil, mate, how about you? What are your thoughts on this handset?
Well, before I give you my thoughts, I definitely should have lost that last round because Nicolas Cage is Gone in 60 Seconds, isn't he? He's not in Speed.
Not Speed.
That's how terrible I am at films. I am just rubbish. I've seen very little films throughout my life. I've seen Gone in 60 Seconds and I just connected the dots. So, but hey, we let it pass. And those are the rules of word association. If no one complains, It just went through. Anyway, controller. Yeah, I've seen the controller. Looks beautiful. You guys are right. But personally, I've never been a fan of all these kind of IP controllers as such. I do own two throughout my history on PlayStation. I own a God of War for my PS3, which came as a bundle when an ex-girlfriend of mine bought me a God of War PlayStation 3. Shows how much she knew me, because I didn't really enjoy that game. The other branded or IP related handset I bought the Death Stranding, as you could probably imagine, PlayStation Pro 4. And it came with a yellow handset. But I'm always super reluctant to actually use this type of stuff. I kind of want it to sit on a shelf and just look good behind me. Because it's the same as you, Davey, because I think you were speaking about it. You've had these handsets in the past, you break them, and then it's kind of like, oh, kind of a little bit disappointing, isn't it? But I suppose if you're going to put them on the shelf, it doesn't matter if they work or if they don't work. But for me, I just wouldn't ever use it as such. So, and Astrobot, as much as I love it, it's not an IP where I'm willing to spend £70 to have that on my shelf. So my shelves are looking pretty full. But lovely handset nonetheless, and I'm sure it will sell like hotcakes.
Hell yeah. I think it is definitely going to sell like hotcakes. I think 100%. If I had the money to buy it, 100% I would. But I don't, and I don't have enough reason to buy it. I've already got two. I've got my white handset, which doesn't work anymore. The R2 is broken. I've got a red and a blue one, which both work fine, and a DualSense Edge. I, in good conscience, can't buy another controller. Even though this, like you, Davey, this is one of the sickest ones I've seen. And I really like that they've had fun with the design. They've not just slapped an Astrobot logo and made it a bit blue. They've clearly thought about it and put work into it. And I think out of all the controllers I've seen so far, it's definitely my favorite. And I'd like to get it later down the line. But like you said, Davey, it's going to be a hot commodity. It's going to be like 150, maybe even 200 quid at some point. So God knows. But definitely beautiful. And if you need a controller, this is definitely one to pick up. It is stunning. And if you don't end up using it, fucking sell it for a fat profit, you know? Easy money. Keep it in the box unless you need to use it. But yeah, I think that is a nice bit of kit. Moving on, lads. Phil, coming round to you for our word association. I'm going to start with nose.
Ring.
Penis.
Organ.
Spaghetti.
Monster.
Beverage.
Budweiser.
Foster's.
Stella.
Amstel.
Belgium.
Country.
France.
Frogs.
Animal.
Giraffe.
Hippo.
Teeth.
Brush.
Paste.
Cream.
White.
Black.
Shade.
Shadow.
Peter Pan.
Neverland.
Captain Hook.
Crocodile.
Alligator.
Swamp.
Toad.
Flies.
Newt.
Aliens.
Movies.
Television.
Cinema.
Experience.
Smile.
Smiler. That's a ride. Dalton Towers.
Theme park.
Nemesis.
Air.
Breathe.
Lungs. Oh.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Oh, we're going to need to change this game, boys. We're getting too good.
We are
too
getting good.
aren't we?
We're getting cracked.
Anyway, quick news. Do you have what it takes, Helldiver? The Escalation of Freedom major update begins on August 6th, and it features difficulty level 10 with new mission objectives. We've got bigger enemy outposts. We've got new bugs and bots. And we have the Impaler bug from Helldivers 1 returning. We have a Spore Charger bug. We have the robots having an artillery tank, which is basically a tank with a massive butt ton of rockets that will attack you. And there's some heavier, more deadlier commanders out there for you to hunt down. And we also have some environmental hazards being upped throughout all the different worlds within Helldivers, so you never know what to expect. And as I said, coming August 6th. Now, guys, I know we've been dipping in and out of different games lately, and Helldivers hasn't featured for a while now on the podcast. We haven't put a lot of effort into Helldivers. Now, is this going to bring you back with these updates that are coming August 6th? Davey, I'm going to come over to yourself.
I think for me, this is nice. This is really, really nice. I think the thing I'm missing from this is just the next army. That's what I want. Like, this is cool, and Helldivers is always just that thing. If somebody mentions it, I'm going to play it. Like, it's just a great game. Like, it doesn't matter if we're 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever it is, I would always be up for just going back time to time into Helldivers 1. Helldivers 2 is a better game than Helldivers 1. So, of course, it's going to still keep me around. This is fantastic, and this is exactly what the game needs right now to be able to get players back in, is more challenge and more kind of mission variety. It doesn't get my dick hard, though, in the way that if I had a brand new army to fight against, where I had to, every single thing I knew was out the window, that would be the dream. But we're not there yet. So I think this is like the next level down from that. I'm happy for it, of course. More content in Helldivers, the better. But I'm not going to be rushing to get back to it. It just needs someone to push the agenda, and I'm back in. I'm not like craving, but I play. And then when I play, I'd be like, why aren't I playing this every day? Be one of those kind of moments.
Well, they did launch a 4-minute 22 video on YouTube about this update, and they kind of left it very open-ended towards where the story possibly will be going in the future. So I think, yeah, as you said, this is the step before the big step, and we get a new army, very much so. Spencer, have you seen the YouTube video, and are you excited with these updates that are coming August 6th?
I'll tell you what, I haven't seen the YouTube video, but from the information you've given me and that I can see in our document, it's definitely exciting news. It's stuff I think we expect. We know they're going to keep adding new content to this game, and this is the level we anticipate they'll add. But like you said, Davey, I'm waiting for that big thing. I don't feel any need to play Helldivers 2, and it's weird. Like, I think if you asked me to play Helldivers, I think I'd prefer to play Helldivers 1, and it's really strange. I don't know why. I think maybe I just miss Helldivers 1 more than I currently miss Helldivers 2 because of recency bias. I adore Helldivers 2, but I just don't need to play it. It's weird. It's really strange. It might be just post-platinum, but similar to Davey, though, if you guys want to play, I'm down. But I think I might prefer to play something else.
It could be just the amount of time that we put in. We absolutely sweated it for a couple of months, like really hard, like 300 odd hours or whatever. It's a lot, it's a lot to play like that. And I think sometimes like absence makes the heart grow fonder. But then I think of like my journey with Street Fighter this last couple of months. Hadn't played it for fucking ages. Played one session with you, Spence. And now all my spare time has been in Street Fighter. I've been playing it like every day. And I think that's all it would take is like one session, one little taste of that sweet, sweet nectar for Super Earth. And we'd be straight back up, suckling at the teat of fucking liberty. And that would be it. That would be it. We'd be fucking down the rabbit hole again. I think that's the fine line that we're walking, is we'd try it and then be like, that was so fucking fun. Like, why aren't we playing that more? I think it's just that push that someone just needs to say on a Thursday night, Helldivers time, lads. And we're like, yes, we'll put FIFA away. We'll put all these other things away, and we'll play some. And I think that would be it, mate. I think we'd be hook, line, sinker again.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Oh, wait, we need to wait till one of you guys ask to play Helldivers, and then we'll find out. Until then, fuck knows.
I'm craving it, I have to be honest with you guys. And we have this sweet kind of amount of time now before Concord actually 100% releases on the 23rd. So I think this is perfect time to actually put some time into this new update that looks incredible, to be fair. Like the YouTube video and the way they sell it, they have a bunch of devs that sort of talk it up throughout the video. I was sold straight away. Not that it's a cost of any level. It's a free update, so you can just log in and experience all these new features. So yeah, I'll be there, and I'll be the one driving this one. So expect an update on the next episode of In PS We Trust. Anyway, to move this on, Davey, I'm going to start you off with the word battery.
Metallica.
Music.
Guitar.
Haven't you said music?
I've said everything else other than that form of entertainment.
I'm sure music's been said.
It hasn't, because we've not gone into songs or anything.
Okay. Do you want me to put that as a loss for me because I've done a fake call out then?
False accusation.
I think it could be.
We call
False
that, mate.
accusation, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Phil had already gone, so my answer had already been accepted.
All right. Well, I haven't
True.
answered it. I'll take the L on it. I'll take the L. Quick news. So, guys, when I look back at the history of this podcast, there's always a few things I ask for. I ask for Resistance to come back in any form. But before Resistance started rearing its head, when it looked like it was never coming back, a game that I've mentioned many times on this podcast was Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. I mentioned it so many fucking times over the years, and out of nowhere, at San Diego Comic-Con, there were statues for Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, and it said Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remastered. Huh? What? What? I couldn't fucking believe it when I saw this shit. I absolutely shit the bed when I saw it. I was like, oh my god, this is the fucking dream. 1 and 2? And granted, it could be that this is just the statues that maybe have been in print before. I don't know. I don't know that for definite. But I have got a hope that we could be seeing these games again. And even if I saw them and they were just released to PlayStation Classics and they were as they were, fine. The games were fucking class back in the day. I'm sure they still hold up. They were so fucking good. If they're like full kind of remake styles, dude, oh my god, I will be shitting the fucking bed every single day in anticipation because my bowels will just fucking leak. I can't wait for this, dude. This is true. I will go fucking mental. But the signs are pointing to truth here. Now, Phil, I don't know if you have any experience with Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver back in the day on PS1.
Yeah, I was just looking behind me just to double check that my memory served me correctly. I do own Soul Reaver 1, don't own the second one. So yeah, if you ever want to buy me that for my birthday, put that on the list, because that would nicely complete the collection. But I was a big fan. I definitely played both of them back in the day. I remember them being excellent games. But they were very much a time and place type of game. I'm not sure would it necessarily translate to a newer audience unless it did get that full remastered treatment, because that, I think that would be the dream. I think the refresh of the IP, bring it back, bring it up to the PS5 sort of standard, that would be incredible. But I think more than likely we're just going to get it redone, slightly touched up, and then just given to us again on PlayStation 5. Yeah, online.
Hey, I'd fucking take it, man. Give you some trophy support on that. And then the thing with that game, I don't know if you, I'll ask you in a second, Spencer, you played it, but the awesome thing with that is like your story is you're a vampire, right? And then the opening cutscene was sick back in the day. And you're like this vampire who gains wings, and you overtake your dad, Kain, and then he's looking at you and he's like tapping you on the shoulder, and you think, oh, what a nice dad. And he just rips your wings off and chucks you into this like vat of like life energy or whatever. And you come back and you're like a fucking ghoul. You're like fucking fucked up and stuff. But you got this like scarf around your neck. And like you chuck an enemy onto spikes or like kill them or whatever. You get a fucking cool ass sword arm thing. And you kill these enemies. And then you just go pull down the mask and like suck up all their life energy. And that gives you your health back and your abilities back. Dude! That game is baller. It's 90s as fuck, and it's so cool, man. So cool. Oh, did you ever play these games, Spence? Do you have any recollection of this whatsoever?
I know of it by name alone. I've heard tale of Legacy of Kain, mainly from you, I think. I'm always thinking, yeah, I know about that game. Why do I know about it? I never played it. Obviously, you've just had a little rant, which, listeners, he does this off air as well, these monologues. If it's just normal conversation, he'll have a monologue. If it's something he's passionate about, and Legacy of Kain is one of those things. So I know it's a great game. I've not experienced it myself, but I do completely agree with Phil. I don't think it's going to be a full remake. I think it's probably just a little touch up or a port to the classics, but that's fine too. A full remake would be fantastic, but it doesn't need it. Like you said, I've looked at pictures. It looks great. It looks like World of Warcraft graphics. It looks fine. Maybe a bit lower than WoW, but it looks fine. And I think it'd translate well. And a remaster would really, really help it. So if that happens, which I think it will as well, I think it's true, I'll definitely pick it up and I'll definitely play it. I think it'll be great. It'd be a good chance for me to experience these games that were so good back then.
It could be an opportunity. Not saying the Half-Life's never going to happen, but it could be a chance to revisit, a game from the past. Maybe bring back that series that's sit on ice for about 2 years now. You never know. You never know. Blast from the past. Get an old game out there again. All play it. Earn ourselves a nice juicy platty. What a nice time that would be. What do you reckon, audience? Let us know. Let us know. So, Spence, on that note, let's get back round to you for word association to see if we can keep this barrage going, shall we? Vampires.
Sucking.
Cock.
Fucking.
Sex.
Fetish.
Leather.
Cow.
Pig.
Bacon.
Eggs.
Sausage.
Hash brown.
Potato.
Potato.
Tomato.
Tomato.
Juicy.
Sweet.
Sour.
Laces.
Trainers.
Footwear.
Sandals.
Beach.
Sand.
Sun.
Bright.
Sunglasses.
Glasses.
Eyewear.
Eyes.
Contacts.
Friends.
Enemies.
Nemesises. Or nemesis.
That word's been said. That word's been said.
What, nemesis?
Yeah.
When?
About 2 rounds ago, Phil said it.
When would he ever
Yeah.
use nemesis? No way.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Because I looked at you, it was on you next, and I thought you might say the button. And I looked at you thinking of what to say, because he said Nemesis right before.
I think it's going to be one of those.
100.
Whoever edits this,
100%.
keep that in mind.
100%.
Keep that in mind. All right, I'll take the L, but if it comes back in the edit, it's going to come back and bite you, my friend.
That's fine. Quick news. So, lads, listeners, there is a new Harry Potter game coming to PlayStation Plus. And now you're thinking, oh my God, Hogwarts Legacy for free? To be fair, they probably made as much money out of that as they could, so making it free would be perfect. It's not Hogwarts Legacy. Sorry to disappoint everyone. But good news, it's another great Harry Potter game. Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. The Harry Potter equivalent of FIFA, or FC24, is coming to PlayStation Plus. Now, everyone loves Quidditch. It's everyone's favourite part of the Wizarding world. Lads, are you excited to get Harry Potter Quidditch Champions for free on September 3rd? And are you going to be playing? Phil, let me know.
No.
Fair enough, Davey.
No.
See, this is where I think we differ, boys. I'm all in on
No
Quidditch
way.
Champions. All in. We've been wasting our time finally getting into FC24 when we know FC25 is just around the bend. We need a game that's brand new that people aren't already good at. Quidditch Champions. And we could be the fucking best. Imagine fouling someone on a broom.
And you got bats, don't you, as well? Beaters.
Yeah,
Hey,
the
you could be a
bludgers
beater,
and
bro.
shit. Yeah, mate.
Yeah, you just bludgeon them up.
Fuck yeah.
You're starting to sell it. You are starting to sell it.
Can you imagine competitive Quidditch? You know, like esports level Quidditch. It's a hard
Yeah.
word to say that, isn't it? Quidditch.
Yeah, I 100% imagine it. The people play it in real life. It's a real sport. where people are on like fucking stupid brooms and people play Quidditch in real life. Sure, it's not at the Olympics and it's not taken off to a high extent, but it is something people actually play. So I think esports is the next place for it, mate.
I mean, esports is going to be an Olympic event, isn't it? They're doing their own esports Olympics in Saudi Arabia next year. It's not actually at the Paris Olympics, but it'll be at the Saudi esports Olympics. They've officially recognised esports as a sport, the governing body of the Olympics, but they didn't recognise it enough to have it at Paris, so they're doing a side event. But you never know, Quidditch might be there. And can you imagine getting a gold medal for the United Kingdom in Quidditch?
I think there's not a bigger way to say you're a fat virgin, is there? Like,
see, I disagree, bro. I disagree, bro. Bitches love Harry Potter, fam. They love it. If you come out saying, "Oh, I'm an Olympic gold medalist in Quidditch," they're like, "Oh, that's their dream." Yeah. I think no one gets more pipe than UK gold medal Quidditch player,
bro. The only way you're getting it is if you're the guy who's like the Seeker, right? Oh my god, I'm surprised myself my Harry Potter knowledge here. Jesus Christ, the Seeker's the guy who finds the golden snitch, right? Like you wouldn't want to just be a guy smacking the bludger away or whatever, the bludger at the back. Like he ain't getting puss. He getting nothing, bro. No.
He's a vital part of the team. You thinking like goalkeepers don't get pussy?
No,
bro. All you gotta do,
goalkeepers get no respect in real life.
Tell him who he is, and he's like, "You fancy a ride on my broom?" And then that's it, fam.
Don't they ban all the dating apps and stuff from the Olympics? I don't know if this is a rumor. I've been reading a lot about the Olympics. Sorry, but I heard that they've banned like Tinder and Grindr and stuff because they want to keep all the athletes focused. So in the athletes' village, they're not allowed to go on any of these apps. So how would they get pipe for boasting that they are the gold medalist for Quidditch for the UK?
I mean,
well, you could boast after, but also there are people currently
cash in. You mean cash in afterwards? You've got that gold medal. You've just spoken to Naga Monchetti on the BBC, and you've gone, Naga, I'm a gold medalist in Quidditch. Here's my number.
You can cash in, mate.
Cha-ching.
I have seen though there's a current trend where people are using a VPN to put their location as Paris, where the Olympics are happening, and people are matching with Olympians on thing. And there was one girl who got popular on TikTok. She matched with the guy who won the first gold for America, and she was just like rooting for him as he was fucking competing and shit. So they're definitely on there, mate. They're just on those cardboard sexless beds.
Mate, I've heard that all they do is shag. That they're shagging all the time, or shagging each other. Because you got to think like you're proper hopped up, man. It'd be like proper hopped up, and you think if you're training all the time, you don't have time for women any other time. So when you're there and there's all these women that are like smoking, can you imagine all those gymnast women, bro? I mean, like you'd have to be seriously gay, and if you are gay. Those men who do gymnastics, they're absolutely stacked, bro. They're stacked, those men who do gymnastics. No matter what you're going for, men or women, bro, the Olympics is like the hotbed. You could be absolutely skanking at the Olympics, but everyone else there is probably DTF. I reckon you got the best possible chance there.
Well, there's a couple of events, isn't there, where you can kind of let yourself go. So esports would definitely be one of them. You could be a big, fat, guy, right? Smelly guy, just wicked at fucking Quidditch or Gran Turismo or whatever game they take to the Olympics. But I've always thought people who do the shooting, because you could be a big fat guy, but just wicked with guns, couldn't you? And just get into the Olympics, and then, you put it about. You've got a gun. What are they going to say?
Yeah, not going to say no, are they? Not when they know.
A gun in one hand, a gold medal in the other.
Yeah. And
talk to me, bitch.
And you'd probably be able to do like those kind of trick shots that you see on movies. So we could like shoot them round the doorway, so they're never safe.
He's not bending the bullet.
He might
I don't
do,
think
mate.
that's real.
He might do. He got that gold medal somehow.
Yeah.
Shooting around corners. Yeah. Angelina Jolie just walking out with all these gold medals. There you go. It's a movie reference I got. Brilliant.
They're definitely shaggers, bro. But I can't imagine when you're there competing with like Street Fighter players, generally pretty good looking. You can't imagine being a big fat Quidditch player and and getting puss when you got like, Big Bird and Punk and all those there for Street Fighter, which we know was in the Olympics. There's no hope. There's absolutely no hope. I mean, you don't have to worry too much about all the league players because they're all just little Asian kids, right? But for all other events, you've got...
They're not old enough to have sex, are they?
Yeah, they don't know what pube is.
And then that brings on a whole other problem, doesn't it? So, watch out for that one.
Yeah,
we covered that in a couple of episodes before.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there'd be... and they wouldn't know the language either, would they? So they're proper, just ready for taking...
What, the language of love?
Language of love.
That or the local language. Dear God. Move on.
Yeah, move on. This went away from Quidditch immediately. But everyone, Quidditch coming to PS Plus September 3rd. Olympians are in the bed. Let's fucking move on. So, Phil, round to yourself. My word for you, magic.
Rabbit.
Hat.
Headwear.
Baseball cap.
Flat peak.
Dad cap.
Bald.
Hair.
Transplant.
Travis Barker.
Drumstick.
Instrument.
Bass.
Clarinet.
Triangle.
Oboe.
Tambourine.
Harmonica.
Yeah,
That's
mate.
it.
Harmonica.
It gets hard at this point, doesn't it? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We've
Also,
gone round in
none of us
circles
could
too
say
many times.
music. No
Yeah.
one could say music because we've already said it.
Okie doke, quick news. This brings us on to my last quick news. And if I'm correct, this will be the last one of tonight. So it would be a decider. Because Davey's currently on 3 points, I'm on 2 points. So we could come out of a draw. But Spencer's there sitting pretty with just the single point. He's been doing very well tonight. But my quick news relates to the new PS5 beta rollout, which is happening tomorrow, it says in the doc. So I don't know if that's tomorrow meaning Tuesday or tomorrow meaning Thursday when you actually hear it, but it's out very soon, okay? And you'll probably have it by then. And it includes personalized 3D audio profiles for your Pulse Elite wireless headset and your Pulse Explorer wireless earbuds. It also includes, you can now remote play. You can adjust the settings with the remote play, and you can adjust who connects to your PS5 using remote play, which could be very handy. And then additionally, for PS5 beta participants, and this is a smaller subsection because this only applies to the people who have the slimmer PS5 model, they'll be able to test out the new adaptive charging for their controllers. Woohoo! Finally! This is what we've been waiting for. This is why I bought a new PS5 before the PS5 Pro came out, so I could get all these juicy features. Adaptive charging, great. So when the controller's rest mode, the adaptive charging basically helps to save the power by adjusting the length of time the power is supplied to the controller based on the battery level. So take that and put that in your pipe and smoke it. Spencer, how do you feel about these updates? Are you excited?
No, this is the most specialist update I've ever seen in my life. This is for such specific people. If you have the new PS5, great. You've got, well, after your controller's done charging, your PS5 will stop outputting power. That is it. That's all that's doing. So wait until it's 100%, and then it's like, oh, no need for any more. You can stop now. That's it. That's all it's fucking doing. You need a PS5 Pulse Elite or the earbuds that Davey owns. You're part of their specialist group. This is for you, mate. And what? Freaking remote play. It's not for me. This update just isn't for me. I think it's a bad update. I mean, they could have just added also fixes some stuff. You know, it usually says also like quality of life fixes or something as well. This doesn't even say anything like that. It's just these 3 specialist things.
Those are the things that get you excited then? The quality of life stuff that they don't even name.
It applies to me, mate. At least
wow,
it applies
quality
to
of
me.
life. Brilliant. There's new terms and conditions. I can't wait to read those again.
I forgot, man. I forgot what it was. But mate, not for me. Not for me. I think this update applies to you boys specifically, actually. 2 different parts. So this is built for you boys. I'd love to hear how this affects you lads.
Fair enough. Well, I'm going to throw it over to Davey. Which one of these sticks out to you the most? I'm assuming it's the new 3D audio.
It is, yeah. It is. The rest of it's just a load of bollocks, really, isn't it? I mean, like, the remote play settings, I can see a point for it, right? If you have... Oh, I've got a tiny little spider. Can you see him? See him? Look, he's Diddy. Go on, outside you go.
Oh, yeah.
Small fear. You come back bigger, you're dead.
Watch it come back and bite him.
Oh, can you imagine I got powers, bro? Oh, the dream.
I knew.
Oh, imagine. Absolutely imagine. Why didn't I let it just live on me? So yeah, in terms of these, yeah, I got to admit, I've gone into the 3D audio settings a number of times. I do it with every new headset I've had. I've had like 3 headsets now this generation, and obviously I've settled on the Odysseys, but which are like the best, right? So why am I going to fucking do anything else? But I do like going in and adjusting to it. And at the moment, it's been very limited. You've got like 3 different ones. The default's always the best for my ear. And then you've got one which is higher and one which is lower. And that's all they are. So now if you've got more flexibility with that, I use my my buds when I play VR. And I haven't been playing much VR lately, so they've mainly been used for my phone and for my PC and for work and stuff like that. But when I get round to playing some more VR later on this year, which I'm trying to free up some time so I can do this, I am then going to be exploring these settings. And that actually does get me a bit excited because I can try and make it the best I can per experience. And, you know, flexibility and choice is what we're all about, lads. So this is a win for me. I like this feature. Obviously, I'm not in the beta, so it's not going to impact me right now. But when this goes to full loadout and full rollout later on, I'll be happy to see this feature there.
I just love we're getting something extra for being a bit of a PlayStation loyalist and owning these earbuds, because they're constantly trying to move the needle when it comes to their 3D audio and make it, you know, an offering that people want to buy into and really invest their time and their money and elevate their experience. And having things like this that come out just make me smile. I'm like, yeah, well, I've got a Pulse Elite wireless headset. They're brilliant. They are the best PlayStation headset that I've used in sort of recent times anyway on my PS5, and it's only going to get better, and it doesn't cost me a damn thing. So brilliant. I really enjoy this update. Sorry, Spence, I knew that probably wouldn't apply too much to you. Anyway, that is my quick news, and I think we've got one more round robin, so then we've had 6.
We're done, I think, my friend.
Yeah, that's
we're done,
mate. Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
we are.
How's that worked out then?
Because Dave's on 3, you're on 2.
Right. Okay, cool.
So, yeah, the scores to end this, I know you always come to me for the scores, is going to be a bit crazy, right? So it's either a case, if in the edit we find out that what Spencer called me out for was legit, then I've lost. And it's a shot in the dock for me. However, if not, then it means the shot goes back on to Spence and it means we're on a tie. So it means a shot for each of us because we then end with 2-2-2. So it's all to play for in the edit, and I'm hoping that whoever does edit this puts a little caveat at the end. It's Davey here checking in during the edit, and Spence left me quick news today because he said, I want you to hear your fate. And you know what? Here it is. Here's where it all went wrong.
Theme park.
Nemesis.
So yeah, shot in the dock for me. Let's move it on to the topic. Stop! Topic time! And here we are with the topic, and today's topic is an absolute juicer. There's been some huge news, an absolute bargain, if you don't mind me saying so. PlayStation VR2 has been heavily discounted. In the US, it's discounted by $200. Over here in the UK, it's similar. It is a massive price cut. And I suppose the big thing, guys, is what are your thoughts on this? What does that mean for the future? But before we even get to that, Phil, give us the facts.
Okay, Davey, I'm glad you asked. PSVR2, which came out in 2023, has now been reduced from £529 in the UK, and that's the normal price you would find it if you went into Tesco's. And they've reduced it by £180 down to £349, and it is currently topping all the sales charts across the board. And if you Google on Amazon, oh my God, they are selling like absolute hotcakes.
Wowee. So that price difference definitely having a huge impact into the kind of perception, I suppose, of this device. And I suppose for me, this makes perfect sense to do around this time because we got the Steam kind of adapter, the PC adapter, coming out in only a couple of days' time from now. So it's a great way to be able to try and revitalize a bit of interest into this market and try and get some hopes up on this. Now, before we get any deeper into this and you give us some more facts and some more things on this, Spence, I want to come to you first and just ask, how do you feel about this? And do you feel a little bit disappointed that you and me jumped in at the higher price point when we did?
I do and I don't. I'm not that gutted because I wanted one at the time and that's how much it cost to get it. And nothing would have stopped me from buying that. Even if I knew that a year down the line it would have jumped price, I probably still would have bought it because I wanted it. Now, it's just a bit more of, it's like a little sting. It's like PlayStation coming up and just kind of give me a little punch in the gut and being like, yeah, fuck you, hey, and running off. That's what it feels like. But it also means, like, I haven't been playing much VR and I'm skint. So if I wanted to sell my PSVR2, I would be getting back way fucking less than I paid for it at this point. Because if I spent $520, I have to sell it cheaper than the new ones. So I'd have to sell it at most 300 quid or less. So the return is abysmal for that. But also just, aren't Sony losing money now? Surely, on each sale, like they did with the PS3. I don't know. It stings, but it's not like heartbreaking. It's fine. And it is something you'd expect around now, especially after the kind of complaints about the price point initially. It was a large price point, so it makes sense for this price cut.
Yeah, I kind of feel with you in terms of I don't feel gutted that they're doing this because we've been an early adopter to the tech and we've had opportunity. This isn't the headset's fault, this is our fault. We've had opportunity that we could have been absolutely sweating the fuck out of this. And literally in this seat, you would have been sweating the fuck out of it. But it is one of those things where we've had so many opportunity for games, and especially now the last couple of months, we've had them included as part of PS Plus as well. PS Plus Premium, granted, but there's so many games on this device, and it's our fault that we haven't played them. It's not the device's fault. It's not like as if we're looking at, in a Sega Dreamcast moment where there literally just wasn't games coming out to it for a long time, or the Nintendo 64 or anything like that. This has had a steady cadence of releases ever since day dot. It's just time. And that's it. Time is the biggest bane of all our lives at this point. And that's what's got in the way. So I don't feel negative for this. I feel glad that people might jump in. And speaking of jumping in, Phil, does this price point start tickling that little VR nerve at the back of your mind?
Well, I have to be honest with you, Davey. It kind of got me a little bit interested because let me tell you where I'm at with all this. I've never been, a massive fan of VR. I remember testing an earlier one for a previous job and I just didn't gel with it immediately. And every time we've been to kind of trade shows in the past or, I've tried various headsets, it just hasn't felt right for me. I am an older gamer, so it might partially be down to that. And just the tech really doesn't excite me outside maybe playing Half-Life Alyx, which I've always said would be the tipping point. This reduction is substantial. It piqued my interest. I think I tweeted about it literally straight away as soon as I saw it. And I was shocked by it that Sony are doing it. And then it kind of gave me more time to think about it afterwards. And I was thinking, well, it kind of makes sense the reasons they're doing it, because anyone who wanted a PSVR2 would have bought it at the 529. Like you guys, you would have bought it, gone out straight away, love PlayStation loyalists, bought the headset. Now, Sony are kind of trying to boost the sales because obviously we're moving over to the PC generation, aren't we? With the introduction of the PC adapter for the PSVR2, which is coming out at $49.99. So if you think about that reduction, it's not a full reduction, is it? Because you're still going to pay 50 quid for the adapter. Because pretty much everyone who dives in now is going to pay another 50 quid for it. So actually, you're still paying about 400 quid for it, if you get me. Maybe the adapter's not originally worth the full 50 quid. And that price does feel a little bit elevated to me. And maybe they had that in mind when they were pricing up the adapter, because they're getting 400 quid from you. And then they're allowing you to play PSVR2 on a much wider kind of catalogue of games, because you've got the PlayStation catalogue of games and you've got the PC catalogue of games. But to come back to your original question, Davey, it's not reduced enough for me to want to dive in. 349, it's still a chunk of money. And the game I want to play isn't on it. It's on PC. Now, there is a bunch of other competitors, which I've done some research. You might loop back around to me in a second, which I'll reel off for you, which might seem a little bit more interesting because you get a lot more for that money.
Well, I don't want to slow your road, mate. I want to hear all about these competitors. What does the landscape of VR look like? And obviously, because I've been so far at PlayStation's arse with the PSVR 2, since the headset released, I haven't really paid much attention to the wider VR landscape. So I wouldn't mind a little run through if you got the stats there.
Of course. And funny, I'm probably the least qualified here to really talk about VR. But hey, I can Google stuff. So I had a look around, and I had a look at the current landscape of VR, and the first sort of website that I referenced was PC Gamer. You know, those tend to be a very reliable source, and I've used them for information for a number of years, and they basically picked a top 4 kind of top VR headsets that are out there. And it's no surprise that the Meta Quest 3 tops that. That is priced at $479, and that's a 2023 headset, okay? The second one down the list is the Meta Quest 2, priced at $299, and that was, of course, out in 2020, so a slightly older headset. Now we're going even further back in time for the third place headset, and that's the Valve Index, which is always the one that I said I'm going to buy on eBay and then sell on eBay once I played the game. But it is such a big price. It's £919 from Valve. And it probably sells, looking on eBay, between 500 and 600 if you want to buy it. So again, it's a huge amount of money just to splash down on one game. Definitely not going to be doing it. And then there was this strange headset that they picked out, and I never heard of it. Maybe you have, Spence. You tend to be a bit more connected to this world than me. But it was called the ByteDance Pico 4. Now, I like all my little Chinese consoles. I've been playing my POW Kiddies and my Ambernic devices. And I think it's very much that vein that we've got this Chinese producer. I'm going to go out on a limb, put my neck on the line and say it's one of those that's come over. So that's the ByteDance Pico 4. And that retails at $299. And that came out in 2022. Okay, so that was their top 4 headsets. Obviously, PlayStation doesn't come into that because it's not a PC VR headset just yet. But I want to throw another one in the mix because I'm an Apple fanboy at the end of the day. We've got the Apple VR Pro, and that one is the most pricey of $3,499, and that came out this year. There we go, guys. So that's just a rundown of all the possibilities on the market. And to be fair, at $349, the PSVR 2 is looking like a hell of a deal if you want to get into this space.
I really, really appreciate that. I really do. And I'm looking at the difference now in the stats between the two. And there isn't an awful lot in it. The Meta Quest 3 has got a better resolution. And it's a 4K plus infinite display. But and of course wireless, which is the big kind of thing with it.
Yeah.
I suppose the main difference between the two is obviously for one, you're better off having a PC with it, right? Like the Meta Quest, you can use it on its own as a standalone device, of course. But I think if you're looking for like exclusive content, I guess PlayStation probably your better choice out of the two. The downside is you need to kind of be at least slightly in the ecosystem. You need to have a PlayStation 5 to be able to use this thing to take advantage of the exclusives that are there, right? So it's like it's a very much now, I think this price point just puts it so it's in the conversation between the two. So now you've got a choice. And there's not much in it now. In fact, the PSVR 2 is actually cheaper now. But you can look at it and you can say, well, if I was going to go for one, and we know the VR market isn't big anyway, now you've got a choice. Whereas I think before, as you said, Phil, it was very much you had to be ride or die PlayStation to go for the PSVR 2, which did significantly limit the amount of people that could get in through the door for it. The attach rate isn't very big. it's not the biggest ecosystem. You know, it's not like we're looking at PS4 levels, you know, like 120 odd million yet. We're nowhere near that. So this is just smart in terms of like a push for VR now. Let's see what we got.
If you're looking at the two for me, so you've got the Meta Quest 3 at 479, and then you've got the PSVR2 before the price reduction at 529. And you've got the PSVR2, and that just plays on PlayStation. And you would probably say the catalogue is somewhat limited. Of course, there's some jewels in the crown, but ultimately there's not a huge amount of games, okay? And that's why they're widening that net a little bit and including all the PC games with this new adapter. And they're doing the right thing. But what you got to think about is the Meta Quest 3 and the Meta Quest 2 and the Apple VR, they all have productivity applications as well. Okay, so there's many other things you could do with those VR headsets outside video gaming. Now, there's an advert that winds me right up on at the moment where some guy, he puts on his Meta headset and he's trying to fix, a cot. And he learns how to put this cot together by watching YouTube videos on his Meta Quest headset. And it winds me up. You just wouldn't use it for that reason. Well, I would never use it for that reason. Why isn't he just using his phone at the end of the day? I don't understand how the Meta Quest helps him in that. But yes, you can do all those other things. You know, you can flick up a spreadsheet. You can flick up a YouTube video. You can have Twitter and TikTok and all those other things, which the PSVR 2 doesn't have. Okay. So having this now price reduction, I think it makes it so much more competitive at 349. But my question is, and I don't think it's very long, and I haven't got the stats for this one, how long are they going to keep it at that price? I don't think they can keep it that long. I really don't.
I suppose this goes back to what you mentioned, Spence, isn't it? Are they now selling this at a loss or not?
Yeah.
And that's the big kind of unknown. I
kind of have to be.
Surely. You would have thought so, right?
Yeah. I mean, if the initial price was 520, that's almost 200 quid cut off. It has to be at a loss. And then this adapter they're selling, though, it has to cost them pennies to make.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And they're selling that for such a markup. So it's kind of a contrast in the two. I think this list of headsets, you make great points, Phil. I wouldn't count the Apple Vision Pro too much because it's more of an AR headset. It's augmented reality. It's supposed to be for production. The only game you can play on it currently, I'm pretty sure, is this dinosaur game where you just watch dinosaurs come towards you. That is it. And you can use it as a monitor, sure, to play PC games, but you can't do any VR stuff on it. Really,
Yet.
You can only use augmented stuff yet.
Hideo Kojima was on a previous Apple event, so it's happening. Apple are looking to broaden their horizons when it comes to gaming, and I don't think it'll be long before they really get competitive in that space. But yes, you are right. That is the outlier. Of course, the price is massively elevated. No one's just going out to buy one of those $3,500. Jesus Christ, if you can do that, fair play. But you would buy one. A, for the shock value, I think, and the novelty of having one, and then B, for the more productivity kind of like applications that you could possibly have on the on the Apple VR Pro.
Yeah, it's also not like true wireless. It's like the only thing to get it to the sleek design they have, it's got no battery in it, so it's got to be hooked up to a power bank the entire time you're using it. It's a bit naff. I think their first go of it is good. Wait till they.
It's a prototype. It is a prototype. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. That price will come shooting down when they do a 2, and then the battery will be in the headset, of course. You know that's going to happen.
Yeah. When that happens, it'll be in contention. Until then, the ones you've given us, I'm not sure on the Pico 4, that Byte one. I definitely heard of Pico before, but I thought it was more of a brand that you put your phone into and one of those stupid VR headsets rather than an actual thing. But from looking at it, the specs on it look really good, and it looks like a really sleek version of the Quest. It looks like an Apple Vision Pro. I'm not going to lie. It looks really smart. And if that can do all like syncing up to your computer and stuff, fantastic. But I think PSVR 2 has a chance in this space with this price point especially. Why not buy it? Because then you have the option of both PC and PS5. It's the one that blends both worlds. It's the only one that is able to do that. And that's a pretty good selling point. Even if you don't have a PS5, it might be worth investing into it now so that when all the exclusives are out and at the end of the generation, you could go back and play all those brilliant games on the PS5. You could pick one up for cheap as hell, and you don't really have to spend much because you've already got the headset. I think it's a smart initial purchase that will pay off in the long run if you do it that way. But even that being said, it's still, even though it's missing its features when on PC, like it's missing its the way, like when you look somewhere, the foveated rendering, it's missing that. Instead, it's got like a general foveated rendering rather than an eye tracking one. It's missing the haptic feedback. It's missing the adaptive triggers. It's missing the key PlayStation features. It's still probably one of the best VR headsets for PC. So I think this is probably a really good price point for it to blend those two worlds.
And I think even if we just ignore the PC side of this, which I think is the big push, that is what they're trying to do. I think that's what makes the most sense. But if we just ignore that, the people that have bought this already are the proper diehard, right? The proper diehard PlayStation people. But there is a lot more diehard PlayStation people that do not own this headset. If you think, say we highball it, let's say there's 2 million sold. I don't think there is. Say, for example, there is. Then you think, okay, well, the PlayStation's at what, 60 million sold now? PS5s? If you even increase that by a couple of percentage, all they have to do is anyone who's on PlayStation Premium at the moment has an argument to buy this headset. Because every month you get a free game for it. Like, why wouldn't you? If you have PlayStation Premium, why not consider buying it? Because you don't even have to purchase a game. You get 12 games a year for it. And fuck, I haven't even played 12 games for it myself, you know? And I've had it for a year. I've been playing fucking non-stop kayak VR and fucking mini golf. It's that thing that you've just got. There's that extra value proposition that you can get from your core as well now. And it's not so much of a big ask. It being the same price as the console is scary. It being 200 quid cheaper than that, especially when we got a Pro on the horizon, apparently. Obviously, it's not confirmed yet. But you can imagine that when they start marketing the Pro, one of the things they'll be smart to do in that is to say how it will enhance the VR environment as well. And about how the extra power has been able to boost X, Y, or Z or whatever it is, right? Frame rates or whatever. You can start just selling to those people that have walked past it in the past and now think, I can get all these games that I've been redeeming or whatever. I've got a nice little library, or I got games here that I can just play. It makes sense. There's so many levels that this works on. And I suppose the big thing would be, is it going to move the needle or not? Is the big thing, right? And as you're saying, Phil, sales are looking good at the moment, but is that just the people that were on that kind of fancy thing that have then been pushed to it? Or is this something that is going to have longer term success like the Portals had? You know, where the Portal just keeps on outselling all the time every time it comes back into stock. Who knows? That's the big kind of question, I suppose. And with that, listeners, that brings episode 95 of In PS We Trust, a PlayStation podcast, to a close. We would love to know what you thought of the episode. There's loads of ways to reach out to us. You can write the email pswetrust@gmail.com, but the best way, and the one that you get a guaranteed response, is if you hit us up on X, Twitter, @InPSWeTrust. Hit us up on there. Let us know your thoughts on the episode. Is there anything here that you want to ask questions about? Be featured on the next episode of the show, just let us know. If you are enjoying the podcast, there's a couple of ways that you can support us. The first and best way is, of course, to leave a review on your podcast service of choice. We are on 5 out of 5 stars on every single podcast service around, which is fantastic to see. Keep the reviews coming, guys. They are building. We do see them. I appreciate each and every single person who takes the time out to go on there and put that 5-star rating. I'm being nice today. I'm being nice. I'm not telling you that you're all being lazy fuckers by not clicking one button. No, being lovely to you. So do us a favor, put a rating on. Does really, really help us. If you're watching on YouTube, then hi. A couple of ways you can support us. Put a subscribe on the channel if you're not already. Like the video and leave a comment below. It all helps us with the algorithm and helps us find a larger audience. But that is it. That brings our lovely show to a close. It has been great to having the trio back together. I, of course, have been Davey.
I've been Phil.
And I've been Spencer.
Take care, guys.
Peace.
In PS We Trust is hosted by Davey, Phil, and Spencer. You can write into the show via our email, pswetrust@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @InPSWeTrust. To find each of us online, follow our Twitters @SSJDavey, @PhilipHoy, @SpenPie_. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. See ya.